First ever live broadcast of ATV Motocross right here on RacerTV.com. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Casey Greek and also Danica Weenan as we'll bring to you today 20 of the world's top ATV motocross racing pilots as well as some of the top amateur pilots as we roll through our motocross racing program here today. And of course, a lot of great things are set to come. We had rain coming in throughout the course of the week leading into the weekend, and also temperatures today a little cooler than expected under cloudy skies. Got to wonder what that's going to do to the racetrack. Let's head on down and check in with Casey Greek to find out.
We're out here at High Point National Track for the ATVA Nationals, and the weather got a little nasty on us last night. Got a little bit of rain. We had a lot of rain on Thursday, and the track come around really good. A little bit of rain last night's created some really slick stuff, and then you have some really deep tacky stuff. So what we're going to see today developing in the track is a lot of different lines, and some spots of the track are going to be real single line. So some parts are going to be real tough to pass, other parts are going to be wide open. You're going to see some really rough stuff come up because how deep the track was, and some really hard pack stuff. But I think at the end of the day today, we're going to have a really good racetrack.
Thanks for that update on the track there, Casey. And of course, with an update coming from the pits, let's head on down to Danica Weenan.
Thanks, Rodney. I'm down here with the pits for the riders, and we're getting ready for the first gate drop of round 3. It's been a long break, but the riders have all been working hard, going back home and training and getting ready for this first gate drop. I know our first place rider, Chad Weenan, he's won 2 overalls already this year, and he's been at home, spending time with some family, getting ready, focusing on his training. And our second place rider, John Natalie, he's won 2 motos already this year, but he hasn't quite gotten that first overall position, and he's really looking forward to getting on that top spot. He's spent a lot of time with his Natalie experienced riders in this off time, getting them ready to go for this round 3 as well. Joel Hetrick came out and was the first fastest qualifier in the morning, and I know he spent a lot of time on the bike training. He didn't get quite the finishes he wanted at round 2, but he's been back out here hard, and his work is definitely showing off.
Thanks a lot, Danica, as we taking a look at this beautiful High Point Raceway, and as we mentioned there just a few moments ago, temperatures are cool, skies are cloudy, but I tell you, the intensity and the fever and the heat of racing is not waned any, as it has been
2 months since the last time these guys have gone head-to-head in competition. Rodney Tomlin here in the studio now along with Casey Greek. And Casey, I tell you, that's a long time in between round 2 and round 3, and a lot of things can happen in that time. People that may have been a little bit rough coming into the season maybe got hurt in the first couple of rounds, healing up, and then of course some guys that weren't on their A game as far as the training program is concerned, maybe they clicked it up a notch or 2.
Definitely. It's a big change coming in. You take 5 weeks off. You go to the first 2 rounds, you figure out what you got to do. You get you fill it out really in the first 2 rounds, and you learn to where you want to be and see what you have to work on. Then you go with a 5-week break, and you have a 5-week break, and you get guys that come back. And one guy that stands out big time to me today is look at Jeffrey Rastelli. I've always considered him a threat for a top 5 guy, and he come out today and run 3rd fastest in practice and looked really good. This uphill rhythm section around the bend over here, he had really good times through there, and was doing that rhythm section better than anyone out there. So really, I look for big things out of him, and maybe he used this long break for a lot of work and getting his homework done at home.
For sure, and I'll tell you, somebody I'm sure has been doing a lot of homework. That guy we're looking at on the screen right now, John Natalie. They're down there working on their gates right now, getting ready to go. And Casey, you used to be a mechanic for John Natalie, and I know being a pro rider, sometimes these guys develop rituals and things like that that are a little different than maybe what some may think. One does one thing, another does another. Are there any unique rituals or anything that you could think of that some of these guys may do?
There's definitely a lot of rituals that you do. I have plenty of my own that almost can ruin your day when you try to play with all your situations that you have and stuff that you build up in your head. But one of the things that you see is everyone's got their routine. A lot of guys put their left leg on, left pant leg on first in the morning. A lot of guys strategize during practice on where they want to be qualifying. Their mechanic will tell them. I've done it before, and we've strategized, with a place like this where you want to be the 2nd place guy because of the way the start is. So you run and you qualify second, and you let that guy have the hard decision of where he's going to line up, and then you can undercut him and go inside him. Or if he makes the wrong decision and goes too far inside, then you can take the really good spot from the outside. So there's a lot of differences in what you can do with strategy and how you're going to program through.
And I tell you, a guy that had a strategy today, he wants to come out and he wants to show his fitness fast and show how fast he is right off the bat. Guy, we're talking about Pennsylvania's own Joel Hetrick, the Mountain Dew Live Wire rider, and he's standing by down on the start line right now where Miss Danica Wienen is going to chit-chat with him and find out just exactly how he's feeling heading into this chilly third race of the season.
That's right, Rodney. I'm down here with Joel Hetrick. We're just starting to get some sprinkles. And Joel, you laid out the fastest lap time. You were near second ahead of everybody else in the field. What do you think it's going to take to get your bike across the finish line first today?
Of course, a good hole shot here. I mean, this rain probably won't hurt too much, but I definitely am glad I got first on time qualifying. It's a big confidence booster for me, and it's great to have first choice of the gate. So I think a hole shot's key here.
What else do you think is going to be key about the race today besides the hole shot?
It's going to be a little slick now with the hard pack, so I'd say just run the cushion and be smart and try not to make any mistakes.
What's the toughest part of the track for you here today?
I'd say probably the downhill roller section. Getting through those is pretty tricky. The double-double's pretty sketchy, but I think we'll get it down for the main.
Great. Thanks, Joel. Good luck today. Back to you, Rodney.
All right. Thanks a lot, Danica. Wow, man, I tell you, it's so confidence booster for him. And, you know, he kind of probably needed that sitting right now in the points. If you take a look at him, probably not necessarily where he would want to be as far as the championship points. He's in third, and I know he'd like to be in second, possibly even first. And with a good run here today, he can start challenging for that right now.
He definitely can. And Joel's one of those guys that he goes out and runs hard in practice to really fill out where he's at, and he can turn some of the fastest single laps I've ever seen out of any rider out there. And he can do it in the race too. And so that's the one best thing with Joel is he wants that first gate pick. He wants the confidence. There's other guys that want the strategy. It plays into both parts, you know, and your confidence knowing that you got more in the tank and you're only a second off, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and as far as qualifying goes, Joel actually qualified 1.1 second faster than the second fastest qualifier, which was Chad Wienen. Hetrick coming in at a 149.755, Wienen a 150.821, so we're full 1.1 second faster. Rastrelli in a third place position. And of course, as we take a look at the point standings heading into this one, Chad Wienen right now enjoying looks like about a 6-point lead over John Natalie after the first 2 rounds of racing. Joel Hetrick sits back another 12 points in the number 3 position with 76 points. Fourth place in points, Josh Upperman with a good comeback there at round number 2, moved himself into the number 4 position in points as Jeffrey Rastrelli, who is now into, I believe, his 3rd year as an AMA Pro ATV racer, rounds out the top 5. And some good news about Jeffrey Rastrelli, of course, is the fact that Jeffrey has not only seen a lot of good confidence and consistent and strong rides in the early part of the year, but, man, he come out here today and he took that confidence from those first 2 rounds and has just, I mean, early on was the fastest qualifier for a good long time, but held on to a top 3 qualifying spot, which is, to say the least, Casey, pretty monumental for a young rider like himself.
It definitely is, and Jeffrey's starting to catch his stride. And a little insight on Jeffrey's side of it, I know he's been training really hard down in Florida, and I talked to Darren Thomas, which is Joel Hetrick's mechanic, but he also works for the JB Racing team, and they gave Jeffrey a little bit more boost this weekend and did a little bit of stuff to his bike, and I think that's really going to help with it and show, and it is showing where his confidence is right now, and that's helped him definitely come out today. And he was the fastest qualifier. And before I even looked at lap times during practice, about halfway through the first session, I seen how he was riding and noticed that I believe that he was the fastest guy on the track at that point. I walked over and looked at the lap times, and there he was at the top of the board.
Well, I'll tell you what, Casey, it's amazing what is about to transpire here before us. History in the making from High Point Raceway with the first ever live AMA Pro ATV event. Plus, we'll have some amateur racing and a whole lot more. And that all continues when Racer TV returns here to High Point Raceway with ATVMX Live.
Twins have notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big long stroke of those 2 cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. And they were correct. That was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATVMC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Find your flow with Maxxis tires.
They're the best off-road riders in the world, and they're coming your way every day on RacerTV.com. Check out all the action from the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship, with live race coverage every week and weekend wrap-up shows. Racer TV has everything you need to know about the fastest riders in the woods. It's all on Racer TV. All racing, all the time.
Let's go racing! Here we go, heading into turn number 1. Side by side they go. Can't he shut the door on him? Here he goes. He's got the momentum. Oh my goodness.
Watch all the action of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship on NBC, NBC Sports Network, and MAV TV. Buy your tickets for the High Point National on June 14th at promotocross.com.
And welcome back to RacerTV.com's live coverage of ATV Motocross from High Point Raceway. Rodney Tomlin, Casey Greek, and Danica Wienen along with us as our riders make their way out onto the track right now. We can see that we've got our 20 fastest guys out on the 18 fastest guys, I guess, out on the racetrack today, getting set to roll as they make their way off the starting line here today. And we see that we've got Joel Hetrick turning in as the fastest time qualifier today. He turned a 1:49, as we said there just a few moments ago. Hetrick out of Seneca, Pennsylvania, on board that Mountain Dew live wire Can-Am back machine he's riding. The defending champion and current points leader, the #1 from Galena, Illinois on the Wienen Motorsports SSI decals Walsh Yamaha, is Chad Wienen. He qualified second fastest today. Third fastest qualifier, the 728 from Palm City, Florida, to JB Racing ITP Can-Am, Jeffy Rastrelli. A lot of talk about him today. Another rider that's got a lot of talk about him, the number 13 out of Warrior Mark, Pennsylvania, the Motorsport.com DWT MotoWorks backed Honda ride of John Natalie. He's also followed up in the fastest qualifying, 5th place in qualifying today, the number 20 Josh Upperman out of Louisville, Ohio on a Baldwin Motorsports PEP Maxxis Fly JB Racing DWT back machine. The number 9 qualifying 6th fastest, former ATV national champion Josh Creamer out of North Stonington, Connecticut on the BCS Can-Am. The 84 Thomas Brown on his Wienen Motorsports factory backed Yamaha there aboard the number 84. He qualified 7th. 8th fastest qualifier. He is the rookie this year, top rookie so far in the standings, 209 out of Bernardville, West Virginia, Baldwin Motorsports, and also Ellis Motorsports sponsor Brett Music. He's number 75 from out of Kentucky. He's 9th fastest qualifier today. The 75 out of Frenchburg is Casey Martin. Tyler Hamrick, last year's top Rookie of the Year, 726 out of Cortland, Ohio, on a Vectory Racing Maxxis Tires Elko suspension back machine, was your 10th fastest qualifier. Two-time AMA Pro ATV champion Joe Bird, the number 7 machine out of Union City, Tennessee, on a Joe Bird Quad Riding School Wash DASA PEP Maxxis backed Honda. He was your 11th fastest qualifier. He's lining up with us today. The 665, Ronnie Higgerson, is out of Cutler, Illinois. He's a BCS Can-Am ride. The 31, Adam Clark, riding that machine out of New London, Ohio, on a Pro Motorsports Yamaha backed by Maxxis and Fly. Also with us today, he qualified 14th fastest from right here out of the great state of Pennsylvania. The 77 from Pipersville, PA, MCC PEP Rage ATV, Rath and Hetrick sponsored Nick Moser. Coming to the line next aboard the number 39 Root River Racing Motowaz suspension ITP tires back machine will be Montezuma, Iowa's Sean Taylor in his rookie season, a proud new papa as well. And we've also got on the line with us the number 40, another rookie that joins us this year out of Kokana, Wisconsin. On board that Honda be Cody Jansen on the Jansen Motorsports. 17th fastest, don't let that fool you none, folks. Out of Bulls ITP back Suzuki Silas Lamans. And the 72, he's out of Uniontown, Ohio, riding of Tim Detling. As we look down onto the start line right now, and the last few minutes of rituals are underway as we take a look. There's John, and there is Joel Hetrick as well. Those three are side by side, and it looks like they're on the inside of the left side of the gate, if you will, kind of, so to speak. But that kind of,
it definitely gives you the shortest line to the first turn. And all day people have been starting outside, and I've been telling everyone, you need to go inside, you need to go inside. And we went inside, and we pulled whole shot in our races today, and you can see right where the top 5 guys went. The only bad thing with that is all the marbles are right there together. And if one of those guys makes a little mistake, they're all going to go. Kind of who gets lucky, as long as they all get good, clean jumps. It'll be interesting to see who's going to pull this whole shot right now.
It most certainly will. 200 awarding of points. They'll accumulate those throughout the course of the year, and will award a champion of that. They'll get a nice little bonus check at the end. 2 points if you grab the whole shot. Now, if you grab both whole shots for the day, you get an extra bonus point, so you can actually have 4 points in that championship battle. Now that's totally separate from the championship battle. It's just some bragging rights I guess some of these guys can have. But John, the tally right now, leader in the points race as far as the SSI Decals Whole Shot Award is concerned, as he turns in some fast hole shots out there as we get set to go. Our Mountain Dew girls getting the action ready to go. The 30-second card is up, and ATV Motocross Racing here at High Point Raceway is about ready to resume here. The heart's beginning to pound now. And way less than 30 seconds. Our Whipple, our AMA Pro referee down there, and he is signaling to it. And now it is time to go ATV Motocross Racing, folks. And off into the first turn we roll. And those front 3 expecting maybe to grab the whole shot, except for Chad Weenan. Weenan out of that first turn, and like a rocket, man, comes out ahead. And man, look at this. Some composure and get back into the action of this one.
You can see Jeffrey Richelli had a little bit of trouble there, but come out of the hole really well. John Natalie come out of the hole too, and he just kind of squeezed just a little bit with those guys, and it gave Chad the room to come out ahead. And it's unusual for Chad to pull a hole shot, but it's good to see him get out to a good start for your champ.
No doubt, and I don't know if Chad's one of those types of guys that likes to not lead in the early part of the race, but if that is the case, it's too late now. He's got to take it and see what he can do with it. He says he doesn't like to show these guys his lines, and this might be his downfall for Moto number 2, especially if he doesn't get the whole shot out there.
Well, are we going to start calling Chad the Chris Bohr to the ATV Motocross Series? Because that's the same thing Chris likes to do, and they've been training together quite a bit. So you have the 2 champions from the one GNCC champion and one ATV Motocross champion together, training quite a bit. That's a lethal program they got there.
No doubt, and maybe they are sharing some of the same secrets. But right now, Weenan holds steady up front. You got Natalie back there in that number 2 spot, and looks like a good battle shaping up for 3rd place right now. And I'm not sure exactly who sorted that one out so far in this one as they make their way past the finish line for the first time. That's Creamer and Hetrick. I knew that it was 2 Can-Ams going back and forth at it, but Josh Creamer, the 2010 champ, the BCS Can-Am running in the number 3 spot. Joel Hetrick, the live wire Mountain Dew ride, the 88 Florida, to kick off this first lap. Aboard the number 39 Root River Racing Machine, Josh Upperman running 6, Casey Martin, the number 75, Selly back in 9th, and Thomas Brown. Wow, not a good start for Brown. Normally we see Brown a little closer to the middle of the top 10 in 10th place as we head down here on lap 2, this big roller section. This is an area that I really like to walk there, Casey, and we see right there that John Natalie has made up a little bit of time already on the number 1 of Chad Ween, and I got to begin to try to push the envelope so much and maybe not try to battle so hard with Natalie and let him go, at least I talked to him about just a few weeks ago during the break.
Yeah, maybe, but John's been really strong in this roller section up there. Him up guys through that section all day today, and Chad has struggled just a little bit in that section. I watched him quite a bit in practice. He struggled there, and a bunch of time there, and Chad's now brought it back out just a little bit, but you know, they're not but a couple seconds. He lost him much, and he's trying to mount a charge, and I know John, he's going to go for it early and try to make this pass, and I've always tried to get yourself covered before you pass him and show him what you're doing to where you're making up his time.
Casey, a former mechanic, Glory and Championship days for that rider, and he knows him all too well. As they go down by the mechanics area, the mechanics, well, they tell them battle, but still, you know, you got to keep them focused.
Right now, you're giving them lap time, just, you know, really trying to keep it possibly for, you know, Paul Turner, Chad Ween's mechanic. He's going to tell him that's the tally behind him. Most likely,
whoa, look at this.
He knows.
We reach the number 9 of Creamer now as we make our way around the first turn region. And look at the racetrack that Joel Hetrick's using.
Creamer's doors off, and one thing with Joel is he knows if he has any chance at winning today, he's got to be on. You're going to see in probably a lap and a half, you're going to see Joel Hetrick on the back door.
You see the gap right there, Casey, with that roller, downhill roller section, and you can see Hetrick was on fire and on a mission right now with that fast qualifying time. You know, he's still got that adrenaline pumping right now, and he is laying the gas down, that's for sure. I mean, around these turns, you look already starting to close that gap up on Natalie. Now, Natalie's challenge that he was putting on Weenan not so strong right now. You got to wonder if he's beginning to settle in the pace, maybe going to school a little bit to try to think about things a little later in the moto.
I think he's definitely playing his cards right now. He's sitting back just a little bit. Chad's definitely not in the clear by any means. And all it takes is one little bobble from Chad. I think John may have had a couple small little bobbles that lap that's opened that gap up a little bit, but he'll come back around, and he's going to tighten it back up on Chad and keep that pressure on Chad to hopefully force him into a mistake. But the one thing that he's got to watch for is the freight train of the K&Ms behind him, because Joel Hetrick and Josh Creamer are coming right now.
They are. We got Weenan out front, John Natalie in second. We're talking only 1.3 second gap there. Joel Hetrick now 2.1 seconds. Here's the gap, or the lap times. 149.511 for Chad Weenan, 150.014 for John Natalie. Now, that gap's going to close between he and Joel Hetrick as he just turned a 149.7, but it's only 0.3 of a second faster. Here's the thing, Chad Weenan's turning the fastest lap right now with a 149.5, so Joel Hetrick is going to have to try to pick things up. But the thing we got to point out here is that Joel turned that second fastest lap there, that 149, only a 0.2 of a second slower than Chad Weenan. He did it after he passed John.
On the lap, he passed Josh
exactly.
Creamer, and so he was racing someone and still turning a lap time that's the same, real close to Chad Weenan's lap time. And you can see the gap between Natalie and Joel that last lap was 2 seconds, and I bet you this time they come around and it's within a second, and I think it may even be closer than that as we watch him come around. He's right on the heels of John Natalie now, and he's kind of dropped Creamer just a little bit.
2.0, and as we look back a little bit through our field, see how things are starting to shake down there. Weenan, Natalie, Hetrick, again, top 3. Creamer's on the move. Remember we talked about having a good start to the season, a good qualifying time today. Well, there he is. The front runners is now dropped to the number 8 spot. Casey Martin holding steady in 9th, and now Joe Bird rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, nice position somewhere right around there into 6th. His lap times aren't quite where I thought they would be for the position that he's in. Way in, and you're going to see, I think his confidence is definitely on point today.
Well, here we are. John Natalie, 1 years old, baby, of Joel Hetrick, and the 37-year-old veteran of John Natalie.
Rich Hetrick is Joel Hetrick's dad, and he was sponsored by him, and they actually rode on the same team when Joel was like 5 years old and John was like 20-something years old. And then they come to when we were all at Factory Can-Am together, and those two, the camaraderie that they had between each other, worked with them. And like I pointed out earlier, lap time-wise, Joel has knocked his lap time down to a 149 all over the back bumper of John Natalie.
Sure is. Weenan turning a 149.3. He's now about 2.5 seconds down to the 149, under the 150 range now, 149. To tighten up between the two Pennsylvania racers, the veteran and kind of the newcomer, if you will. I know that Joel's been at it for a few years and plenty of confidence under his belt, and that's one thing that he talked about, that he does have into this moto with that fastest qualifying time, and he's showing it right now. The only thing is he cannot let John Natalie slow him down right now and let Chad Wienen get away if he wants to be a threat to win this first moto.
He definitely has to make work with John Natalie. They're going to drag race down the straightaway. He's not going to be able to make it happen there, but what it'd be interesting to see is if he sets him up just like he did to Joel Hetrick is extremely fast, and as the rain has went away, the track's going to hopefully tack up a little bit, and you're going to see a circle with traction, and you're going to see them maybe make a challenge to Chad Wienen, maybe not, but as he did, you're going to see him make a full-on charge to try to catch Chad Wienen now.
Wow, I tell you, Justin, point proven in the first couple of rounds for even Chad Wienen, as Natalie held some pretty good moto wins. I think he is a 4th place finish in that first moto of the year for John Natalie in Georgia, but since then he's been right there in the hunt. Is now into the number 2 spot, and he's laying chase to the number 1 of Chad Wienen, and don't think he doesn't think he can make this happen. That last time around, so they lost another second. Actually, the gap between the first and second place Ryan, you talk about some real estate that Joel Hetrick's going to have to try to make up. He's going to have his hands full, and John Natalie's about to get hit step, and he's about ready to start knocking on the door and saying, let me in.
He definitely is, and you can see Joel's locked his lap time back down. You see Mark Baldwin cheering on Josh Upperman there, and he's pushing Josh. He's telling him, go, you got to get up to the front if you want any. He's making up some time. He's still running the 6th place, but his lap times have come down, and he's making headway, and he's definitely
the only rider outside the top 5 other than him that are in the 151 range right now is he, and 2 seconds behind Rastrelli, so those two might be pushing each other to the front of the pack. Josh Upperman has about 5 seconds. He makes any mistakes, how quickly he's going to be under contention for that number 5 position.
Yeah, definitely lines out there that these guys can take, and
there's Taylor.
You can watch him come through, and as like Sean Taylor comes through, he hits a little bit of a slick patch, but it's
14 seconds. That's what we were watching there on the screen between Thomas Brown and Sean Taylor, just to let you know that 7 are really starting to pick up things there. And you know, something else that's starting to look good about that, Casey, is the fact that, you know, we're looking at 6 or 7 guys that could possibly take a moto win and battle it out here at in the ATV National Motocross Championship.
Every weekend, you want to see guys that go out there and not just one guy dominating as Chad is right now, and as we talk, not showing all his cards early in the race. He's definitely showing his cards, and he's putting his time in right now. Joel Hetrick's made up a half second.
Hetrick, and almost a 1:49.6 for Chad Wienen, so our gap now 3.5 seconds. Josh Creamer 1 second behind him. They turn nearly identical lap time, so I think our next heated battle is going to be coming for that number 1 position for the 2014 season if he doesn't pick up the pace.
Definitely, and one thing that you see, get the tires to hook up and see where he can get, and he's got some really smart lines out there, but the Maxxis tire, either Rastrelli and Thomas Brown are battling out through the rollers right now.
Yeah, that's the battle for 6th place right now. Brown turned about 7/10 of a second faster lap on him last time. There's another battle heating up out there. They're all over the place. Under pressure for that final podium position right now in front of the hometown crowd. Josh Creamer, also a former champion. Creamer has the 2010 only 1 championship under his belt, and right now he's just ready to start making some waves. He had TV motocross national scene, but he came back last season full strength, and he's been building towards trying to win another championship. Really give him the steam that he's going to need to do so to be able to mount challenges like what we're seeing right now. Look at that. That's 2 battles that we're trying to watch right now.
It's a great racetrack we have today, and you can see with Creamer, he's definitely wanting to make that point and pass 11, Creamer 2010. A lot was said in 2011, Creamer wasn't here. So who was really the better guy? He didn't get to defend his championship. John Natalie has defended his championship, and he finished 2nd the year after
Well, we have a 15-minute moto is what we have, 15 plus 2 laps of racing, and we should be getting close to the end of that 15 minutes, or within the last third of the race right now, but that's the new moto formats. In years past, Casey, the AMA Pro ATV riders have raced 20 plus 1 lap. They went this year, and I think it's really tightened up the racing quite a bit, and I think it's evidence here because these guys go at it from the word go in the drop at the gate, 15 plus 2 laps.
It definitely is, and I'll be the first one to say I wasn't really in agreement with the shorter motos, but after Georgia, and you know, we'll see it as it plays on through the year, but it's definitely tightened up racing, and today it didn't really tighten up for Chad Wienen, he definitely made his work early. But what we're seeing between John Natalie and Josh Kramer right now, and even Rastrelli and Thomas Brown, all these guys, they got to go now. There's not a whole lot of strategy that you can leave out there because you have to go. And sometimes that suits better for different guys. Some guys wait around, and go. Other guys are fast. Guy that was fast out of the gate today is struggling later in this moto, and one guy that was struggling early in this moto is now making up and trying to get.
We're at the 15-minute mark right now when the leaders round, they will get the 2-lap board. As we continue to watch the battle for the 3rd spot, the 2-lap board is out. He was 3.5 seconds. We've seen that he dropped to 4 seconds now at the end of lap number 9. Wienen is holding steady under the 140 or under the 150 mark. At that time it was 149.9, but Hetrick at last 50.6. So we see that gap starting to open up quite a bit. So maybe not a challenge to mount there for Joel here. Certainly makes things and sets the stage for an interesting second moto. And right now, this one's not over yet. I don't fly or until he gets around the number 13 of John Natalie. And Natalie's not going to let him go by easily.
And a bit of friction between Kramer and John. They're cordial to each other. I wouldn't say they're the best of friends, but they've definitely had their days and race. One person's fault and the other person's fault. It's definitely almost an even playing field, I would imagine, between those two guys. They've definitely had a couple run-ins. He's not going to let it make it easy. He definitely doesn't want that BCS Can-Am to go by his Motorsport Honda.
No doubt about that. Like you say, you know, there are occasional animosities amongst these riders. The great thing about it is no matter good about each other or if they have a bad taste in their mouth about each other, they still go out and they race like true champions. Put a lot on the line out here on the racetrack, and they each respect themselves no matter how they feel about the other.
They definitely on the pits here at the ATV races, but there's definitely, you know, animosity. You don't want to get beat by a 37-year-old when you're 26. Bad 37-year-old, so
yeah,
to get beat by him and to finish on his tail like this race is going right, that's a tough race.
It is, and even if John Natalie does get passed by Josh Kramer, then that's a heck of a 6-year-old like that.
Exactly, and to be out there racing with Joel Hetrick that's 21 years old, and you know Chad, I think Chad's in 26, 23, 38, going to be 39 this year, and so I was wrong, and which I should know better. But between John Natalie, Josh Kramer, and Chad Wienen, those guys are young. They're still in the TV racing. These guys like Chad Wienen has come into his prime later in his years. Earlier, when he was 22, 23 years old, we made mistakes as a young rider. He was always one of the guys that was really fast. And that's something I want to see from Joel Hetrick as he gets older. Yeah. He's going to be the next guy that's going to be dominating championships here shortly.
Chad Wienen just on a victory ride this time around. This has been the biggest margin of victory we've seen so far here in 2014. And, you know, I think a lot of that is an indication of the track and the competition, because the competition got in a heated battle behind the number 1 of Chad Wienen. That really is what helped him out, is the battles that were shaping up behind him, and that allowed the gap to open. The push that Joel Hetrick had to make there to get in position and just to get around John Natalie was just a major feat in itself. So this one, I think the guys are going to go back. They're going to sort this one out the best they can. And I know Joel Hetrick's thinking start in Moto number 2, because if he can win Moto 2, he can still win the overall as far as the day goes. But not right now, my friends. It is, of course, the 3rd Moto win, I guess I should say, for your two-time. And Chad Wienen, as he makes his way past the finish line and at the checkers, enjoying almost a 6-second Hetrick, another 7.5 seconds back to Natalie, and look at that, Kramer, 0.4 of a second even. But it's another 10 seconds back. He rounded out the top 5. Thomas Brown did make that pass on Jeffrey Rastrelli, and a second off the pace back in the number 7 spot. That was a good battle, and both those guys, probably a great learning experience for Rastrelli. Good battling experience for Thomas Brown also.
I would definitely look for a better start out of Jeffrey Rastrelli. I've seen him get tangled up, and he'll come the same thing. He's usually a pretty decent starter, and he come out pretty far back today, and you can see maybe a little conditioning got into with Rastrelli because of, you know, being 3rd gate pick today and being right up there with those guys. So we'll see how the second.
For sure, and look at the rest of the top 10 here. Sean Taylor, our top scoring rookie of the day, it looks like, aboard the 39-55 of Casey Martin out of Frenchburg, Kentucky in 9th place, and Ronnie Higgerson, who is one of our top riders in the Pro-Am Class 65, teammate to Josh Kramer there, rounds out the top 10. We got Joe Bird back in 11th. Adam Clark took 12th. Nick Moser rounded out the top 15 here in High Point, and amazing what we've seen. Saw a little bit of rain heading into this moto, Casey. It was very cloudy. Now at the end of this moto, it's starting. The rest of the race day is going to be like here at High Point Raceway. Excitement and things, and the best things are.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, it's nice to see the sun come out track all day, and it's going to come around really good. It may get a little slick here shortly. It may. And track, how was it? Well, let's find out. Let's head down to the victory lane, I guess, and let's talk with Dan.
John Natalie here. He came out of the moto second out of the whole shot and finished third.
Around Josh Creamer real early on in one of the first couple turns, and you know, I was able to hang with Chad for a while, about half a race. All my fault. I got to figure it out and come out in the second moto a little bit harder. The track is really slick, hard to find traction. So you
think the whole shot is going to be as big of a difference for Moto 2 as it was for Moto 1?
Yeah, you know, getting a whole shot is a big deal to pass. I mean, if you didn't pass early on, whenever they were bunched up, it was hard to get around somebody. It turned into a one-line track really quick, and I used that to my advantage a little bit there when I started to fall back. But, you know, Hetrick was able to get around me. I figured I'd let him try to chase down Chad and equal out the points a little bit, but I guess he wasn't able to get them. And Chad rode a great race. He rode smooth, made a couple mistakes. I about got him a couple times, but then he smoothed out and was able to pull away a little bit. So I got my homework whenever I go back to the trailer, and we'll get it dialed in and come out stronger in the second moto.
Great. Congratulations. Back to you, Rodney.
All right. Thanks a lot, Danica. And Casey, I tell you, man, pretty big of John to admit that, you know, any problems or the reason that he couldn't hang with Chad was all on his shoulders right there. And, you know, probably line choice might have been it, and a number of different reasons. That track out there really, I mean, it was different from qualifying this morning, and it was different, I think, as the race wore on. It constantly changed throughout that race.
It definitely did, and it is a lot different from what practice was this morning. And so you set your bike up during qualifying, and you use that for your gate pick, and you use it to tune your bike for the day, and you try to predict what you're going to go on. And with what happened today, it didn't work out for his setup wise, and maybe a little bit of line choice, but I think we'll see big things out of John Natalie second moto.
All right, let's head on back down to the podium, victory lane, where Danica Wiener is standing by with our second place and fastest qualifier, Joel Hetrick.
Out in the moto?
It was pretty important. I mean, I got a pretty good hole shot. I got hit a couple times up top, but put me in good place to make some passes and try to get the win. But just couldn't catch up. Chad had a pretty good lead. He was running real good. Put me in good contention for the next moto, though. You get 2-1 and overall. That's what I want.
Kid Dynamite for a reason. You're really fast out on the track. Do you think that speed is going to come into effect for Moto 2?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not too tired right now. Going to go take a rest and try to get the W.
Great. Thank you, Joel.
All right, thanks a lot, Danica. Good job, Joel. And, man, what confident there with that second place finish. I think he was probably thinking exactly what I was thinking. Why exert so much energy at this particular, the heaviest weight out there, Casey, and I think that's what he was thinking too.
I think so, definitely. I think he got into second. He knew he could win the overall. Get moto wins. He needs to win first motos if he wants a chance at this championship right now. He's sitting a little farther back. The only way you can make up points against Chad right now. So he did play his cards right, go for the overall, get the paycheck, whatever he's overalls, but what he's got to focus on for the rest of the year is winning motos to make up points on Chad Wiener right now.
Now with our Moto 1 winner, Chad Wiener.
Chad, it's your first moto hole shot of the win,
this Alaska motor was just yanked at the top of the hill. I actually got out jumped right at the bottom, and I think the Maxxis tires really helped her, and you know, just my whole setup today really worked great, and just the Yamaha in general is the High Point Raceway.
Now that Moto 1 is finished, what's your plan for Moto 2? Do you have any other strategy in your pocket?
And you know, it makes the race a lot easier, and you know, just I know what I can do out there. The track is, and I'm sure it made it for hard passing, and you know, that's the best opportunity for me to go out there and get a hole shot and just.
Winner, back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Danica, and wow. Chad, like she said, first hole shot of the, not that it's not untypical or a big surprise to see him do something like that. It just, I guess, doesn't play that game.
Yeah, contrary to what many people believe, Chad does not always get the best starts, and he's made his life doing that. And by pulling the hole shot, it's just going to elevate it for the next moto. Now he comes in with the first gate. It's the same strategy that Chad played on him. Chad picked the line next to Joel to the right. If I was Joel, but it worked out in Chad's favor, definitely that moto. And what you may see next moto is the starting line will change. That last moto that we just had there, the rain has really had an effect on the starting line.
Yeah.
So it's really, everyone's been pushing
right.
And so it'd be interesting to see what lines they pick next moto.
Yeah, and the next moto coming up 5 o'clock when it's actually Eastern time, so we got a little bit of time to go before the actual second moto gets underway. A lot more to come as far as ATVMX turn, and I mean, we're talking, we got some amateur racing, we're going to be doing some features and getting to know some of these AMs out there and just kind of getting a little bit of an insight on what makes these guys and who they are, I guess.
To meet these guys and get personal with them, and these guys are real, they're not dry. They like to talk, they like to be on. Really, they show themselves when we do interviews with them, and that's the best part about ATV motocross, right? Not holding anything back. You see Natalie, sometimes you're like, dude, get off the podium, come on. But he's there. He's big.
Speaking of John Natalie, I mean, a couple of quick little stories about John. John and I always struggle over the microphone. That's all too. We were doing some TV stuff, and I went and I handed the microphone. He goes, "You actually gonna let me hold the microphone?" I said, "We thought that I thought that was pretty neat." But has got the John Natalie experience that he's got going on this year, and just a whole lot on in his life right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, and a little bit more about him and all the great things that are going on here. ATVMX Live continues here on RacerTV.com.
Twins have notoriously been just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. And they were correct. That was the issue. Instead to do a better quality oil.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain AT, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructions. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Flow with Maxxis tires.
They're the best off-road, and they're coming your way every day on RacerTV.com. Check out all the action from the AMSOIL Grand National Championship, with live race coverage every week and weekend wrap-up shows. It's all on Racer TV. All racing, all the time.
Tomlin, Casey Greek with us, and Danica Weenan also out and about. And you ever wonder how you go ATV motocross? Something that will bring you right up to speed on that. It's called ATVMX 101. To that in just a moment. We're watching 70 races on the racetrack right now. That's 70 open 6 to 11-year-olds. Lead after 2 laps of racing over Tristan Evans. Taryn Levy is running in the number 3 spot. 4th place rounds out your top 5. The leader, Max Lindquist, the 07 machine out of Little Suamico, with us. The 16 machine of Tristan Evans out of Leesville, Louisiana. And Taryn Levy, the 771 Iowa on the Honda. And as we continue to watch this race unfold, Lindquist checks in now, 2:02 lap times. We were seeing lap times in the 1:49 range there for our AMA Pro ATV riders, which seems, okay, that's 12 or 13 seconds slower, but you got to think the AMA Pro ATVs were actually riding a little bit longer track than what these guys were, but that's still some pretty impressive lap times for a 70cc machine and a kid 6 to 11 years old, Casey Greek.
That definitely is pretty impressive lap times, and the rider I work for now, we actually race against Max Lindquist, so to see him out there winning, it always makes you feel good to know that's one of your stiff competitions out there, and you see where your lap times are, and and Max is riding really great today, and you can see by pulling 21-second lead this moto.
Wow, 21 seconds after 3 laps of racing there. So they're on the white back in the number 3 spot. Grant Landis another 3.5 seconds back and forth. Jay Launderbill rounds out the top 5. Thomas rounding out your top 10. And I think it's neat. You know, we watched those pro riders go across this racetrack a few moments ago. Some of those guys, I made mention of it earlier today. Some of them are actually doubling some of these bigger.
Turn them into rhythm sections and just jump along as you go, and that's sometimes your fastest route.
Now Casey, just fans that don't know, Casey actually a longtime industry mechanic. And Casey working, like we've already talked, factory Can-Am team and things of that nature. But now it was funny, we were talking yesterday. You said I've got all afternoon. That's pretty neat. Lane Baird out of where is that?
Sturgis, Kentucky.
Sturgis, Kentucky. This little kid, man, I mean, phenomenal of ATV racing over here, because I mean it's kind of like a prodigy, or if you will. You get the opportunity to work with this guy and just to be a part of this kid's program.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big program, and we try to make it to the to the same factory. At the factory Suzuki. I've been at factory Can-Am with John Natalie for many years, and this program is bar none to the rest of them. I mean, our program out of him, the things I can tell him to do. Lane, go run this inside corner and do it this way. Shift up here, downshift here. Sometimes get that out of my pro riders at 37 years old. So to work with a kid and to know that he's only 11 years old and he had
to the dude.
The dude. Well, we upped his new nickname to Bad Dude after the last race, because at the last race he stalled it up fast. He run into a kid in the first turn after that, come all the way back, and end up winning the moto by 4 or 5 seconds. So we upped his name to Bad Dude. But
well, he's a bad dude. There's no doubt about it. As we check in with the action on the racetrack now, we see that we've got the women's class on the racetrack right now, and this is another one of those exciting battles as we'll check in with the leaders in just a second. We'll introduce the riders to you. Emily Irwin, the number 3 out of Toms River, New Jersey. The 6 of Ashley Emler out of Altoona, Pennsylvania. The 11th points leader here in 2013. She's out of Cleveland, Texas. Jay Honeywell, who's a TT rider, also the number 12 out of Hunlock Creek, Pennsylvania. The 13th, Brandy Cottage out of Industry, Pennsylvania, riding a borrowed quad, a loan quad, if you will. Said, here, ride this, Root River Racing. She doesn't get a chance to come to a lot of races, but they wanted to see her out on the track this weekend. 27 Michelle Stillo out of 72, Brittany Snyder of Allentown. We had Allentown, Pennsylvania. Now this is Allentown, Michigan for Brit Champion. Number
She's
83
out front right now.
She is riding in the CW Motorsports, Baldwin Motorsports, Foxshock, Walsh back at the 802, Nicole Gates out of Mechanicsville, Maryland. And right now, as we watch the battle on the racetrack, tough pill to swallow there in the first part of the year, because she opened up the year with not quite the men's moto wins that she was searching for out there, Casey. She had such a good year last year. And Megan, knowingly to a lot of people, really did a lot of work in the offseason, and she was telling me that in Georgia, when she was, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So.
And that's big. Megan's riding incredibly good this year, and Katie's putting up a fight all year with her.
1.4 seconds apart. Meddy leading Megan Manchak right now. Nicole Gates another 1.3 seconds back in third. 0.8 of a second behind that. Ashley Emler, the number 6, in 6th place. Samantha Thompson, the number 300, in 7th. Shay's also a flat track, or a TT racer, I guess you could say, is where a lot of her talents lie.
We've seen a lot of showing from some TT people this year. We've seen Kirby and work coming in from the TT racers, and they're having good showings this year. And unfortunately, Shay, she's definitely good to see the TT people coming over.
Number 4 spot in 5th place, Ashley Emler. 6th place, Samantha Thompson running aboard the number 300. 7 of Michelle, that's the 27 / Michelle Stillo, rounds out your 8th place position. Lap 1:081. Half second slower was Megan Manchak, as that gap opens up to now 2 seconds. Do a lot of work here in this big long break that she was afforded to college. And college, if I'm not mistaken, and she is not taking anything easy. I think whatever it is, it requires a lot of trying to split it between ATV motocross racing. Well, she found the balance, it looks like, in the last couple of months, as she is currently leading, as we said, by some 2 seconds now. Biggest competitor, the 11 of Megan Manchak. Some lap traffic coming into play. She gets by A-OK, and I would imagine that Manchak will also, as this rider seems to know that she's having her struggles and not wanting to hold.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see Katie must have done something. She somewhere along the line she's made up some time that she didn't have in the first 2 races this year. But you can see Megan's closed up just a little bit right now, and it'd be interesting to see what the gap is when they come across the finish line again. But you know, the laps are winding down here, and Katie's held her own the whole time. Tight race, so maybe Megan got a pit board from the side and said, "Hey, wake up, you're racing today." Something, because she's on board now.
Something has her inspired as we race toward the white flag. And, you know, with the AMA Pro ATV Racing we're watching here on RacerTV.com and ATVMX Live today, we incorporate a lot of amateur racing. And, you know, today is their first day of motos, and they got Moto 1 today, Moto 2 tomorrow. They're also going to be doing some LCQs and C-Class. Carson Dean, you need to go to registration ASAP. It looks like you're going to be going to a consolation race, so they need to go down and needs to go to a consi, it looks like. No consis for these women right now. The only consolation, I guess, Check don't get that moto win. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she's won every one so far here in 2014.
She has, and she just went by. Katie Meddy's pulled away from her just a little bit further, and she has a fairly comfortable lead now. This will be good for Katie's confidence. She needs this to get back. She's the champ right now. Megan's kind of shut the door this year.
She has. She absolutely has. And I'll tell you, Megan actually does have the fastest lap. She turns 150.064. That was a full second and a half faster than Nettie last time around. But like you said, I'm talking maybe 6 seconds at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Something went wrong with Megan, and we'll see as they come here getting ready for this lap to conclude.
I'm kind of excited to see what's going on back there with Brandy Cottage. She just moved into the number 3 spot. She's 24 seconds racing on a regular basis, but she and her brother both not racing so much anymore, but came here not been on a quad since last year at this time at ATV Stampede time at Steel City, and he almost took a win. He was challenging for
to see the guy. He's a good guy, and we're good buddies, and I'm really good friends with the Cottage family. And what Rich Gillette is fire damage and stuff, and it's unfortunate, but they never even, blinked an eye. They just right back takes care of him, gets him a bike to ride, and really helps the sport, and that's huge for the sport. And there's people like Brandy getting a 3rd in the women's class after not riding all year.
That's amazing. It is, and she gets to round out the 9 in the women's class, and off and rolling with the production B race 28 for divisions. There's an ATV about twice as wide as a motorcycle. The 40-man gate means only 20 ATVs can line down to the top 20, so they'll race here. Each division will take the top 8 and transfer into Moto 2. There'll be a second moto coming up tomorrow for those production B riders, and history being made here at High Point Raceway. And actually, speaking of history, I think they need to tell the story about the magnificence of this particular venue and the significance, I guess we should say, means here in and around the Pennsylvania, and of course High Point Raceway. And with that, we had a chance to catch up with Tim Cotter, who's been a big part of not only High Point Racing Nation for a long, long time.
You know, here at High Point Raceway, we've been nearly 4 decades in the hills of southwestern Pennsylvania and northern West Virginia. In fact, less than a half mile from here is the conflicts here for well over 100 years. But now, today we race ATVs, and in 4 weeks we're going to be with the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championships. And since the beginning of ATV racing, they've been racing here at High Point Raceway. I can remember the days of Gary Denton and some local guys, Teddy Trey from Leg Over a Motorcycle here in ATV World. And of course, in motocross, you go all the way back to Bob Hanna, who his machine echoed throughout the valleys here. You also talk about names like Damon Brad. This was probably Damon's home track. This is where he qualified for amateur racing. This is where he came for his regionals, and he came here as a national rider as well. And then, of course, Ricky Carmichael loved High Point, and they embraced Ricky as their own. And then modern day times is in 4 weeks we're going to see on the young guns of Justin Barsha and Eli Tomac and the boys. So High Point has played as motorcycles, but this racetrack has played a huge role in the development of this community. When you go to nearby Taylor towns and Mount Morris and Waynesburg and of course Morgantown, High Point's DNA. So today, this weekend, we celebrate our moto heritage, although it be 4 wheels it's going to be ATV racing, and then later in June, we're going to be celebrating the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross.
And I tell you, it's a real rich history here is telling us there, and I know that High Point Raceway holds a lot more as history will continue to be made. In 1976 is when this particular facility was introduced to the world. It was introduced facility that Dave Coombs Sr. had a dream for. He'd built a lot of different radios. They just didn't have what he was looking for, but the rich soil, the farm, held exactly what he was looking for. So he came here in 1976 and ran the first races in September. The Mako factory team actually made their way here, traveling across the United States, racing in the Trans AMA series from, well, the 1970s. It used to be kind of like the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Nationals, but the Mako team made their way here, and they decided that, you know, hey, let's make this a little more European. They piled up rocks in the corners to make turn markers. They laid down branches on the ground to help in the edge lines of the tracks and things like that. And the basic layout and design of what we're seeing right here at High Point, the Mako factory riders laid out so many years ago, 1976. We're talking amazing feat to see what they were able to do. Still lives here today in the hills of Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, and something that still lives here as well is exactly under some of the most demanding conditions and demanding racetrack, as well as excitement. Up top of the key here is our leaders in the production B, Heats 1 and Heats 2. We got time place position. He's the number 18. Alex Gillette, River Rider, in third aboard the 88. Corey Powers, he is running 7th is Tommy Bossman. Rounding out the top 8 is Bryce Barber. He's on the number 8 machine. That's in the production B Division 1. Division 2, the 471, the 925, the 55X of Sam Imbergia. Running in third, 535, Vince Merman. Zachary Hissman, the 85 and 7th. And 8th place, your final transfer spot, the 555 of Tyler that we see that Templeton has taken the checkers, Snyder has, Powers, Perkins, Gillette, all in. Mikey Kyle Kohler, the 33, now rounds out the 8th and final transfer spot in that. Merman, Bringle, Hazelo, Hisman, and more looks like going to be for Division 2 as we take off the start line now. Amateur race here, the number 29 machine, or excuse me, race 29, and it's the 90 automatic junior machines with riders 8 to 11 years old. Lakeland, Florida's Cale Deal, the 14, Grant Landis from Manheim, Pennsylvania, the 16, Tristan Evans from Leesville, Louisiana, 19, Virginia, 54, Jagger Price out of Navarre, Ohio, the 55, Jake Visnick out of St. Clairsville, Ohio, on a Hetrick Racing, 73, Ryan Mason from Windridge, Pennsylvania, the 99, Gage Keene from Temperance, Michigan, 101, Corey Edwards from Spring Grove, Virginia, Dane Molander out of Middletown, Pennsylvania. 55, Visnick looks like is used earlier with a young kid out there, and I was calling this kid Visnick. It was actually and I was calling Logan, and I felt so bad about it. But this time for sure Jake Visnick, and this time, man, it looks like he's really comfortable lead in the early part of this moto. Casey Greek's starting to shape up. The sun's starting to rain down on us now. The day is really starting to turn around. Race fans are from all around here with us today, and man, what a great day here in Southwest Pennsylvania.
Definitely, and you can see the track's getting really choppy, and I'm sure they'll work in the track a little bit before the next Pro Moto and see what they come up with there. But you can see Jake Visnick isn't having any problems this moto. He's out there running on, and I heard get the two mixed up earlier, and I actually did the same thing, but I wasn't announcing at the time, or similar in color, so we'll give you that one today.
Well, thank you very much. I don't feel so bad now, as Tristan, just a little more than 2 behind Visnick. Gage Keene, the 99, right behind him in third. Grant Landis, the 14, is right now, and there's a battle making its way through the first few turns and now towards that first tunnel jump, and second behind Gage Keene, so that might be the battle we're looking at for the third place. Our leaders once again on the low end there, and again these on racertv.com about these youth classes, and you know the significance of what it's all about to see these. They are what makes this national championship series what it is, and they bring not only their talents but their lifestyles, and I like to call it, and these are the guys that are the grassroots. They planted the seeds a while back. We're growing our future pros, Nick and Evans and Keene and Landis and Dill and the boys.
It is, and if you look at it, you look at Joel Hetrick. I can remember when he was riding Super Mini. That's when I kind of come into the ATV scene. I'm sure you remember when Joel was riding the 50 class.
I do remember that. A year or so ago on the social media Facebook, someone tagged me. I guess it probably would have been his mama, but they tagged me in a photo when he was on a 50 at an ATV National Motocross race, and I was like blown away. Kind of a blast from the past type thing for me, and to know that, I watched him grow up and to see where he's at right now. And as a matter of fact, I believe here in just a few moments, the Kickstart folks are here with us from Mountain Dew, and we've got the hospitality tent set up over there. The Mountain Dew girls. Live wire rider, I think, Joel Hetrick is scheduled to be there for about 10 minutes to sign some autographs. So you'll get Pro Pits will be open, and all the race fans here at the racetrack will be able to head on over and talk with the teams, mechanics, the riders themselves.
Get yourself an event T-shirt. Joel Hetrick is on it. He's a local boy here in Pennsylvania. I'm sure he's got a lot of fans here, and go get yourself and make a day out of the rest of the day, and then go back over there later on.
Was that one of our top guns? This is the 16 machine. That's Tristan Evans, and that must have been Landis that had the problems we saw sitting to be seen. He was less than half a second there behind Evans for second place moments ago, by himself now in that number 2 spot. Let's see how much of a gap there is back to Landis or maybe Cale.
The track has definitely taken its toll on bikes today. We've had some bad luck today, and I've seen a lot of guys having.
I was going to say there's a lot of variables there that I think probably lend its hand to that. Number one, the tackiness, I think, is a lot of pressure on a lot of parts, which causes a little more friction, a little more wear and tear, and it definitely robs a lot of the.
It works on the clutches, and these are CVT four-wheelers here, and that's what you may see is, the clutch on our shifter bikes, and we usually don't have to struggle with that, but sometimes your luck's there, and, right now you have Jake Visnick. He's out front, and he's really dominating this one. He's 27, not to take anything away from Tristan. He's riding great. He's over 5 seconds ahead of third place.
Championships, and this is the Maxxis ATV Stampede at High Point Raceway in the midst of some of our amateur racing here on ATVMX Live. 90 Automatic Junior, 8 to 11 on the racetrack. Jake Visnick leading nearly 30 seconds over the rest of the field. Tristan Evans in second, Grant Landis in third, Corey Edwards in fourth, and in fifth place, Gage Keene. And I'll tell you, if you're wanting to follow along with Racer TV, it's simple to do in the social media world. On Instagram, it's at Racer TV. On Twitter, it's at Racer TV. And in Facebook world, it's just simply / Facebook, or excuse me, Facebook.com. Facebook. It's Racer TV. The goal is you're going to be able to utilize that Twitter to maybe possibly win some great prizes from our friends at AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, where we were going to be giving away $250 worth of tweet a podium prediction for your idea who you think is going to win the overall and if you're pulling for, who you're rooting for. Now, what you got to do in order to be eligible to be into this is hashtag that ATVM, be able to know that that is going into that little systems, and actually what will happen is we'll just choose a winner at random, and before the end of the show we'll make that announcement, and oil products. Down on the line right now as we get set to roll with race number 30 at Logan Stanfield. That kid literally just had a great run. We're going to race number 30. This would be the Super Mini 12 to 15-year-old class. Tell us a little bit about this Super Mini class.
Most of the chassis are made by Roberts, different chassis makers out there, and a lot of guys are putting Honda 150 motors in them. You can run an 80 cc regulations right, and it seems like most of the guys now are running the Honda 150 four-stroke. In age, develop the skills of riding a four-stroke, because when you get on a 450, there is no more two-strokes in the big bike class.
It's a great.
You're explain one here shortly and letting them develop the skills of a four-stroke, because it is a completely different power band. They put the power to the ground necessarily different than what a two-stroke does.
Yeah, and we were seeing some shots there of our Super Mini 12 to 15-year-old class, and we were talking about Logan Stanfield, and we saw a good long shot of him there. He's out of Peru, Indiana, by the way. Rides aboard a Honda, 14-year-old kid. He's going to be one of the ones to watch in this class, but I'm telling you, he's going to have his hands full in this one. We have got a host of who's who as far as many riders are concerned in the ATV racing world, and we're talking riders like the number 12 of Gunnar T-Bone out of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. He's a Culligan Service, that's Culligan Water Services, Jansen Motorsports backed ride. The number 14, Jansen Motorsports, Elka Suspension backed rider out of Beaver Dam, Virginia, Troy Hill. The 29, Alex Pafford out of Arcadia, Louisiana on a Honda. The 44, PMP Sprockets Fly Racing, MotoWaz, Natalie experienced ride of South Lake, Texas is Bryce Ford. His brother, older brother, Bryce is 12, Cody is 14. These guys will be fun to watch race against each other. Cody Ford also riding for the same sponsors there, part of the Natalie experience, which we'll talk a little bit about. Logan Stanfield out of Peru, Indiana. And that 79, Dylan McClellan out of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania on a Hetrick Racing Fly, 100% goggles machine. 100, Noah Mickelson. He is on a Root River Racing Honda out of Iota, Minnesota. Wesley Wolf, the 207 machine from Myersville, Maryland, riding aboard his Honda machine out there, is not only one of the top Super Mini pilots out here, but he's also one of the top national GNCC pilots in Grand National Cross Country Championship Racing. We also got the 441 of Tristan Levy out of Center Point, Iowa. Peyton Zimmerman, as I like to call him, out of Lidditz, Pennsylvania, could be a force to be reckoned with. Zimmerman Racing, Max Incorporated, FTR Power Sports. And 733, another key player in this one could be Peyton Lingle. The number 733 is out of Winslow, Illinois. And look at this, fun times around the pits and between motos for some of these guys as the excitement continues here at High Point Raceway. We'll pick back up with it in just a few moments on RacerTV.com's ATVMX Live.
Side by side they go. Can't he shut the door on him? Here he goes. He's got the momentum. Oh my goodness.
Watch all the action of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship on NBC, NBC Sports Network, and MAV TV. Buy your tickets for the High Point National on June 14th at promotocross.com.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATVMC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Find your flow with Maxxis Tires.
They're the best off-road riders in the world, and they're coming your way every day on RacerTV.com. Check out all the action from the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. With live race coverage every week and weekend wrap-up shows, Racer TV has everything you need to know about the fastest riders in the woods. It's all on Racer TV. All racing, all the time.
Twins have notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big long stroke of those two cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. And they were correct. That was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
And welcome back to High Point Raceway and RacerTV.com's ATVMX Live, our historical first-time coverage of ATV motocross racing on the national level here and AMA Pro ATV racing, as well as what we're watching right now. And we kind of set the stage for you a few moments ago as the Super Mini 12 to 15-year-old class is Alston, Peyton Zimmerman, Gunnar T-Bone, Wesley Wolf, Troy Hill, your top 5. I'm telling you right now, a big change from what I expected to race there, Casey Greek, because this field's kind of flipped around and tossed up quite a bit. And kind of not really a surprise. Mickelson is not wanting to be denied, it doesn't look like.
Yeah, and it looks like Peyton actually made the pass on Mickelson as he's starting to pull away just a little bit, but it's definitely the guys that I thought would be up there. You see Gunnar there. The other guy I thought would be up there would be Bryce Ford, and I thought Troy Hill would be a little bit closer, but them top 3 are definitely right there. And you can see Zimmerman come across the finish line, really stretching it out. And Noah, you know, kind of only making halfway, and you can see Gunner's looking for a spot to make the pass on him right now, and lingering right there close, Buff, and like you said before, he's one of the top GNCC riders.
Yeah.
And he's coming in here right now, and he's riding guys. So
hey, yeah,
ATV motocross guys.
Hey, I was just talking with Rich Gillette there a moment ago as we watched this one. They're giving away free samples of Mountain Dew Kickstart right now under the Mountain Dew courtesy tent right around the first turn region. So head on over to the Mountain Dew hospitality area, Mountain Dew tent there you see, folks, and you can pick yourself up some free Kickstart as we continue to motor along here. Zimmerman out front of Mickelson now, T-Bone in third. Wolf, some things that are surprising me. I kind of expected to see Cody and Bryce Ford a little more in the mix of things here, as they're now running in the 9 and 10 spots. They are moving up a little bit though. Wow, look at these lap times. Casey is turning a 150.4, but amazingly, that 4th place ride is just as quick.
Yeah, and he's just a little bit faster. Not a whole lot, but he's just a little bit faster, and he's sitting back in 4th place, which that's going to put the pressure on Gunnar, and Gunnar run a 151 that lap, and then he's knocking on the door of Mickelson real hard right now, and you can see he's all over him, but he definitely has right now.
Wesley is certainly one of the top ATV pilots, whether you're on the motocross track or on the woods track. That kid almost won the national championship, overall national championship. He races a 10 o'clock race there, so that's saying that this kid knows how to race an ATV if he can do it. And Mickelson, man, speaking of this realm, he is under all kinds of fire. There's T-Bone and Wesley Wolf right behind him. Troy Hill not far off the pace either, about 4 seconds, but we're talking 1.2 seconds separating second, third, and 4th place positions right now.
Yeah, and Zimmerman, he's out there on not China right now. They got a battle between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right now. That's unbelievable.
Look at that.
Gunnar sticks it inside of Mickelson, and right now he's got to watch himself because he's got Wesley Wolf right off the battle.
It is, and you know, one thing to say about Gunnar T-Bone, he likes those inside. He likes that hard pack, it looks like. He kicks that around sideways like he's flat tracking it or something.
Yeah, he's definitely not one to hang it out. We've lane raced them all last year, and phenomenal family, and really had a good time racing against them, and sometimes that gets ran out, and it's nice to have that refreshing face when you go to the starting line, and you can see these kids right now, they all have a good time, and it is a 3-way battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right now that you could throw a blanket over at any point in time.
For sure, and I bet you these guys are going to need to go over and get their electrolytes and juice. It's like you can do right now, folks. Again, free samples at the Mountain Dew hospitality area, and these guys are going to be heading to get theirs, I'm sure, here in a minute. Mickelson under pressure. He gets the big break there, though, as Wesley Wolf now starting to challenge Gunnar T-Bone there for that number 3 spot. So Wolf is 4th, T-Bone in 3rd, and Noah Mickelson leading the trio we see battling on the track right now is your 2nd place ride there. Man. Mickelson, how long is that going to be, though?
Yeah, they're almost 3 wide in a pretty narrow part of the track, and you can see, you know, Gunnar just trying to jump, do whatever he can as they come to the finish line there, and that was, I'm not sure, it looks like Noah held on, and Gunnar will finish 3rd, and Wesley Wolf will finish 4th, but boy, it was hard to even see it from the screen here.
Yeah, that was a tough one. So Zimmerman, we got Peyton, as I like to call him, Noah Mickelson in 2nd, Gunnar T-Bone in 3rd, Wesley Wolf in 4th, and 5th place position then is the Troy Hill. In 6th place, Peyton Lingle. Logan Stanfield is 7th. Dylan McClellan in 8th. Cody Ford in 9th. And Bryce Ford rounds out your top 10. The racing action here Casey, you know, talking about the grassroots of it all, and, you know, a lot of attention turning towards our pro class racing, especially here about 5 o'clock in just a little bit. But, you know, one rider that didn't necessarily get a chance to come up through the youth ranks, but has certainly made a name and become a major icon in the sport, is none other than John Natalie. We had a chance to catch up with him leading into this weekend's race.
All right, we're here at round 3 of the Mountain Dew ATV Grand National Championships, and weather right now is not looking too bad. It rained a little bit coming into this weekend, and I thought they were going to end up canceling practice on us, but as you can hear in the background, they're out there running practice. The Coombs family did a great job getting the racetrack ready, and the workers got everything going for us. I'm excited to be here. We had a good 6-week break, and I went home and did my homework. I mean, we've led the most laps this year coming into this race, but we haven't been able to come away with an overall. We won 2 out of the 4 motos, but my second motos weren't good enough to give us the overall, but we got 2 second-place finishes on the podium. Of course, I'm happy with being on the podium, but I'm not happy without a win. So the last time we were here, actually in 2012, I was able to pull off a win here, and I'm hoping to get it started again this year and start a winning streak here. I want to get out here. I want to win. I want to be on top of the podium. I got a lot of friends and family coming. I want to do it this race. I'm excited. Like I said, over the 6-week break, we did a lot of testing. We got some things dialed. We found some new things, and I think we're ready. You know, over in the off season, we just didn't do quite the homework we needed to on suspension and tire settings, so we did a little bit more. I knew what I was up. I finally got a chance to see what I was up against, and had to pick it up a few seconds, and we've definitely done that since then.
John Natalie certainly getting his homework done. The test didn't go so well today, man. He had some issues out there in taking the moto win anyway. Now, I did do his homework, anything away from that, but he was mentioning he wants to win, and it's still not over. He's still not in the hunt for the overall, and because that at 5 o'clock. So those of you watching at home on RacerTV.com, be sure and stick around. Those of you here at the racetrack across, stick around. We got another race coming up at 5, and then the pro run. Right now, they're giving away Mountain Dew samples of Kickstart. They're at the Mountain Dew hospitality area, and we're watching right here before our very eyes as we went from Super Mini Class racing now into Production A Class, and the riders are what they call at this level amateur, expert, amateur A riders. A are experts, B are intermediates, and C are novice. This is our A riders.
Yeah, definitely, and they're right there. They're at the speed where they're ready to make that jump to Pro-Am, and you can actually still run these classes as a Pro-Am, but you can't run the Pro class. You can run the Pro class. You can run Pro-Am and run the Pro class as long as you're not top 5 in points. And so you see a lot of guys doing that. I believe Hetrick does that, Tim Detling does that, Ronnie Hignerson does that. And what that does is, and let them see how fast your top pro guys are going. And I know Ronnie, I've talked to him plenty of times about it. It helped him in his Pro-Am days when he races on Sunday in Pro-Am because of the development of speed. So these guys are doing the same class. Is going to go and run Pro-Am, engage himself off of guys like Ronnie Hignerson and Sean Taylor, and then take that back and channel it through their Production A class. And they're going to run similar lap times as we wait for them to come across the finish line here to see what the lap times are. These guys are, and they got an epic track right now.
They sure do. Tyler Turner leading Alec Miller. There is between them Dalton Hicks another 2 seconds back in third. Chase Cunningham back in the number 4 spot. Parker Weworka. Dylan Mellon, who is one of our Root River riders, along with Dalton Hicks, the 33 machine, is running 6. James Nichols running Stilo. The number 12 is in 8th place. Wes Lewis, Jacob Ronzani, the 51X rounds out your top 10. I got to find out where's Facundo, the number 12 machine from. Out of Doral, Florida. I begin to think that might have been one of the South American riders that old Joe Bird might have brought up with us, you know.
After you right now for pronouncing that, because I was definitely sitting that one out. But, you know, he's a Florida.
Floridian,
whatever we want to call it. But he's having a good showing today. That he wants, as everyone wants to win. And as you talked about John Natalie earlier, you know, yeah, he come away with wanted, he didn't win. John, he never not wants to win the job. It's like a pitcher, if he can't throw a ball, or a catcher that can't catch a, you know, or a wide receiver that can't catch a, he's paid to win. Yeah. And that's what didn't happen first moto. So he is not a happy camper right now, and he will be fighting him as we see someone just fall down the hill there. Unfortunately,
wow, look at this. Here it comes.
Contact. And
is that Hicks challenging spot? That's the 940. No, that's Tremelin. challenging Parker Weworka right now, the number 40, with 940, number 5 position. Man, I'll tell you, Tremelin, last race out, I think he had 4 moto wins at our last round of racing. Basically swept a lot of, well, a couple different of these A classes out here. And Tremelin, obviously trying to make up for some lost ground, it looks like, here in this production A class today. Hicks, Weworka, Tremelin, Cunningham, your top 5. Lewis, Nichols, Ronzani, Davis, and Darren Lee rounds out your top 10. Oh, it looks like Pasando has dropped back a few positions, now back to 15th. Tough break for him, but you know, we mentioned Joe Bird there a moment ago, and one thing, and I hate the taste, that is just unbelievable right now. We've got Hicks and Weworka. That gap is starting to open up between them, but Weworka feeling the pressure from Tremelin now for the number 3 spot. Cunningham has dropped to the number 5 spot. Wes Lewis is running 6, James Nichols in 7, Ronzani in 8, Tyler Davis in 9th, and Darren Lee rounds out the top. 146.736. That was turned by your leader, Alec Miller, but the fastest lap was turned by Tyler Turner, is the number 28 ride.
In 16th.
In 16th place, but on lap 2, he turned to 145.335.
Some would be interested. We don't know what happened to him. He may have crashed. He may have had a mechanical failure. But turning lap times like that, he may have been right there with your leader, Alec Miller, and definitely making a charge for the win in this class.
Wow, look at that. Skying it out up through there. 4 laps down. 1 more to go. Production A laps has 5 laps. 146.9 that time around. His gap now nearly 5 seconds over Dalton Hicks, or old Bubba now, who's moved up to 2nd. Weworka still in 3rd. Tremelin still in 4th. Chase Cunningham in 5th. Man, that face of that race back there has changed quite a bit. The one place that hasn't changed, though, man, is Alec Miller up front. This kid riding on rails out there, it looks like, out of Pataskala, Ohio. I've seen this kid put some good motos in so far this year, Casey, but I by far got to say this is the best one I've seen this season.
Yeah, I think he's out there trying to prove today that he's the real deal. Maybe he didn't like getting beat up on by Tremelin there, as you see them come across, and he's making that battle real tough right there. And I think we've just seen that Tremelin will move into the 3rd place position now.
So now we got 2 Root River riders running for 2nd and 3rd. Hicks, the number 33, and the 940 of Dylan Tremelin, as we watch them go along the bottom. Ooh, Tremelin about getting out of shape there. Come a little crazy off that, but man, that's when good suspension comes into play right there.
Definitely, and Rich and the MotoWaz guys and all the crew over there at Root River, they got them bikes working really good today. And as you can see, I mean, they got 2 guys in the top 3 in the A class right now. That's a feat in itself. As they start to close in on each other, Tremelin's starting to close up a little bit on Hicks, and see what kind of team orders and strategy those guys are playing with over there. I don't think there is any. I think it's you go out and win, and if you can't, then you treat your teammate the best that you can as you pass them. And Tremelin is definitely trying to treat his teammate with respect right now, but
I'll tell you what,
he's got to go because he's got heat.
Yeah, Parker Weworka's not treating so much respect there on Tremelin and the boys. Hicks and Tremelin battling for 2nd, but at the checkers, woo! Man, did you see that? Alec Miller takes the win, 5 seconds ahead of Hicks, Tremelin, and Weworka. That literally came by. It looked like side by side, Casey.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen that a bunch today. I mean, these guys are racing close, and that's what we want to see. So the track has developed into something more than just a one-line track that we had early this morning, and it's come full circle because you got guys going off of small areas side by side, and that's trusting each other.
Yeah.
And just sheer heart, really, at the end of the day. It takes a lot to race against someone side by side off a face of a jump with open wheels.
It is. It takes a lot of guts. There's no doubt about it. It is Miller, Hicks, Tremelin 1, 2, and 3. Parker Weworka in 4th. Chase Cunningham in 5th. Looks like James Nichols is 6th, Jacob Ronzani in 7th, Tyler Davis, the 308 in 8th, Darren Lee, the number 15 in 9th place, and rounding out the top 10, the 79 of Wes Lewis. Wes Lewis is, he had his hands full back there. You can see that he and Keenan Game actually having some good battles back there in the number 11 spots as we are looking at beautiful blue skies. Look at those big puppy clouds that are above us right now. And
yeah, definitely. They're beautiful out there, and it's nice to get a little bit of sunshine as we sit in the booth and freeze.
Exactly. Speaking of sunshine and speaking of beautiful, we've got our own sunshine and beautiful Miss Danica standing by with the winner, Alec Miller of that moto.
Alec, you had a great race out there. Take me through what happened.
I just got off the gate pretty good in second, and then the leader Ty just wrecked somehow, so probably pretty lucky about that. But then I just rode smart until the finish.
Did you enjoy yourself and find some good lines out there?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Good job out there today. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
We enjoyed ourselves. I'm sure he did. And, yeah, we were looking at Tyler Turner, and we were talking about that lap time. And, yeah, he was that early leader out there. We just kind of missed that a little bit, I guess you could say. So can't catch everything, Casey, but wow, yeah, what we can catch is great racing action right here at High Point Raceway as we continue the racing action here. I want to remind folks that coming up here again at 5 o'clock, we got second moto of AMA Pro ATV Racing. Also, High Point Raceway will host round 5 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship coming up in June 14th. I think we're about 4 weeks away from that, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be a Saturday right here at High Point, so be sure and join us for more of that. And again, want to remind folks to tweet your podium predictions to ATV, hashtag at ATVMX, and that'll get you in the drawing as far as who could walk away with $250 in AMSOIL products. All you got to do is give us your predictions. Doesn't have to be right, but who do you think is going to win in today's overall in our AMSOIL giveaway here today? Building legends. That's what we like to do a lot of around here.
Yeah, definitely. We have some legends in the house today. I actually watched Shane Hitt walk by earlier. He's a legend in himself, and there's a lot of guys that come around, and we'll see Doug Gus later in the year, and you know, can you call John Natalie a legend?
Well,
he's still racing, but he's one of the guys. I mean, he's definitely been a name
an
for himself,
icon,
and he's helped the sport. Yeah, we'll go with icon for the next couple of years, and when he decides to retire, when he's like 50-something, we'll call him a legend.
There you go.
Yeah, and we'll treat Joe Bird with the same respect. We'll keep him as an icon.
Icon,
right
yeah. And you know, Joe was telling me earlier that I think we'll talk a little bit more about that with Joe. We had a really good feature on that. We'll catch up with him shortly on that. And, you know, as we watch the next race on the racetrack right there, that's race 32. To explain to the race fans here today and the race fans at home, what exactly is CVT, a 90 class and any other 90 classes?
This class is a CVT. It's a belt-driven, DRR-driven.
So rather than a chain, they use a
no, it's chain-driven. The clutch is belt-driven through, like, just like you accelerate the gas, it spreads apart.
Centrifugal force, yeah.
It's a centrifugal force clutch, which hence CVT. But gearing on them, but with that clutch, you're almost always in the perfect gearing. And as you see Bryce Ford charge down the straightaway,
wow,
the kid can ride, and he's really good on these CVTs, and he has been one of those guys that he's kind of, and that's, you know, where your typical 90cc is usually an 85cc dirt bike engine trans.
Yeah, this is one to keep an eye on in this 90 CVT 8 to 15-year-old class. As we said, we've got one of the first place position. Hunter Evans was your early leader in that one, and we've also got Corey Bode, Jack Eager in 5th, Tanner Sorrow in 6th, Ryan Mason 7th, Zach Weisenant is 8th, and Christopher Furchess in this one. And you see Bryce Ford, like we said, just an amazing rider out, one that we're going to want to keep an eye on throughout his entire racing career, not only in the youth and the amateurs, but I think we're going to say as far as ATV racing is concerned. And somebody that's gone a long way is a rider. We mentioned that has probably been around as about as long as ATV motocross racing has been. Bird, an icon that we mentioned there a few moments ago. And like I said, I caught up with him earlier this morning, as a matter of fact, to talk about being in the sport. Down in the pits here before the race gets underway with Joe Bird. And I'll tell you what, Joe Bird is probably one of the biggest icons as far as ATV motocross is concerned. He's one of the biggest ambassadors, not only known nationally but internationally. And Joe, At 41 years old, man, I know that, you know, you've been doing this for a long, long time, and it's just amazing, just the great things that you've done with ATV motocross and across your span of time. Let's talk a little bit about Joe Bird, who you are, where you come from, and then we'll talk a little bit about how great of an ambassador you are, man, because you really have done so much for this sport.
Well, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. I have been doing it a long time. It's my 29th year as a professional athlete, and I started a long time ago with three-wheelers, actually, back in the Marty Hart days, Jimmy White and all those factory Honda and Kawasaki guys. And then I went to four-wheelers as soon as they came out, so I've been racing on four-wheelers since they made them. And, yeah, just been doing it a long time. Next year will be my 30th year. Hopefully I can, Lord willing, stay healthy and hopefully, I don't know, maybe retire after 30 years. That's a long time. It's probably done more laps on a motocross track than anybody in AMA history, I think.
I think so. Anybody that holds a card could probably not come close to what you've done, Joe, and that's pretty amazing too, you know, just in and of itself. But I mean, the length of time that you've spent, like you said, you know, you're going to be looking at 30 years here pretty soon on a motocross track. And man, your career has spanned a lot of time. You've seen a lot of ups, you've seen a lot of downs. You've even got 2 national championships under your belt.
Yeah, I've got 2 AMA Pro championships. I think 35 AMA Pro wins. Got a lot of, you know, had some good times and made good money doing this, and met a lot of good people, family and friends here in the United States and abroad. You know, Asia, South America, South Africa, Europe. Oh, I even went to Russia and Antarctica one time. You know, so got to meet a lot of people doing my riding schools and racing as well. So it's been really good to me, and I'm going to get back to the sport as I have been for 21 years. I've been doing my riding school since 1993, and last year we decided we're going to start the bird training facility. I've been teaching my team how to train and be a professional athlete for the last, I don't know, 12 years or so, and now I've opened that up to the public, and I'm teaching riders, not only ATV motocross guys, Pro-Am, all the way up to mini riders, but now I've got a couple AMA Pro Supercross riders that's come join the team, and they camp out the house. They can, you know, live there or come daily, weekly, monthly. Most of them stay all season. So I got some guys I'm training.
That's pretty amazing stuff, man. So I mean, it's a big span. I mean, it's a broad place for you, and the world is all these different countries. Not only do you go to those places, but that also inspires people to come here to the United States.
Yeah, actually, come here and either buy the quads from me or rent them or something so they can come here and race. You know, it's kind of difficult to get quads shipped over. Your guys from over in Europe and Australia, and I got several guys here from Argentina, and a friend of mine just came in from Switzerland to watch this race. So yeah, we get to, you know, hopefully build up the sport, especially people knowing safety awareness and knowing the intensity of racing, because they race in about every country, even Guam, you know, over in the Pacific here, whether it's motocross, cross country, TT, whatever it is. They just don't, you know, they don't have the opportunity to do it for a living like the guys do here, so the intensity maybe.
Now, you're talking about intensity and all that stuff, and at 41 years old, man, you're one of the most intense dudes I know. There's no, somewhere down the line, you're going to have to retire and look to something else. What's next for Joe Bird, I guess, is the big question.
Well,
proud of you.
It's sticking.
I'm proud of you, Joe. There's nobody else out there that's been able to do what you're doing. I mean, I know and you're doing, I mean, there's just a handful of people that's able to do that, and I'm proud, man. It inspires me to see you doing it. I mean, even though 41 is not old, it's still inspiring.
Yeah, 41's a young man, but it's an old racer. So 2 wheels and 4 wheels. As a professional athlete, like as a race longer, of course, but not an AMA Pro license. You know, it's a long time. And Doug Gus did 41, and me and Doug are good buddies. I said I'm going to 42. Yeah. You know, and 2, that's, you know, nobody's done 30 years. You know, not in either sport as an athlete. You know, so that's kind of my goal. I'm already I think the heaviest rider in AMA Pro history to pull a whole shot at 235 pounds in gear, and then so yeah, I like to, you know, get some records anyway. I know James Stewart and Villapoto and Carmichael got all the other records, so I'll try to get my own here.
There you go. So it's schools and just keeping yourself involved in the industry, I guess, and after it's all over.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I'm keeping the schools going and my bird training facility going, because that's going to go 2 wheels and 4 wheels. You know, I hope to, you know, have a team in Supercross, one day training like some of the guys do, and of course my passion is a 4-wheel ATV, so I'm going to continue doing the schools and train those guys there. We have a nice facility where guys come live there and train, and but I still got to race, Rodney, so, you know, I can't just watch. You know, I love the training, love the ride, and I always ride and stuff, and I may join the guys in some other classes, but or I may even race pro part-time, but I got to be a professional, so I'm thinking about going truck racing here in the near future. I know McGrath and Deegan, those guys, and talk to them, and hopefully I can take some of their fenders off here in the near future. I'd like to go truck racing. That may be what's next for me.
Wow, that'd be pretty cool to see, Joe. I just want to say thanks, man. Thanks for all you do for ATV motocross.
I've been blessed to be here.
30 years as a professional ATV racer. To think about that.
Yeah, definitely. And you imagine the things you see, and I know he's been over to France and so many things racing 4-wheelers, and it's just amazing, and to keep doing it for as long as he has, and you can see the passion that the guy still has. He still wants to be involved. Joe Bird's not going anywhere, and that's awesome. That's good for everybody.
It is awesome. And I tell you, if Joe decided to stick around, the guy that we just saw out there a few moments ago in that 90 CVT Ford, who took the moto win there, and Danica is standing by with him down near Victory Lane.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm down here with Brian in his class. He's done for the day, but he worked really hard. Tell us about your moto, Bryce.
My moto went great. The kid got, they got the whole shot on me, and at the first lap, I just was.
Did you have to work really hard to get out front?
Yes, I did.
And how long did it take you to get out in the front?
1 lap.
One to thank today?
I would like to thank my mom, my dad, my brother, Gary, RB, Fierce, Ford Brothers Racing, MotoWise, Fly, and FTR for the awesome graphics.
Great. Thanks a lot, Bryce. Good job today, and good luck the rest of the weekend.
Thanks a lot, Danica. That was so cute. You looked around on his fender trying to find another sponsor to thank there. And you know, that kid's got a great list of sponsors. And he mentioned the Tally experience. You know, Joe was talking about the Joe Bird quad riding schools. He was also talking about the Bird training facility in which he is developing, you know, for star motorsports athletes, motorcycle and ATV racing athletes. So John Natalie's got his own thing going on too, actually, Casey. I think it's pretty exciting. It's called the John Natalie Experience, and what it is basically is a team of riders. He took a team of riders, and some of them new to the series even, some of them even new to racing ATVs.
ATVs in general, yeah.
Yeah, Alex Waskop, who I think just 2 months before the start of the season threw his leg over at ATV for the very first time, came to Georgia and actually got a podium position, finished second, if I'm not mistaken, overall. That was pretty amazing.
He's quite a natural on ATV right now, and he's doing pretty good. He's had a little tough luck here and there, but the whole Natalie experience, as we talk about that, John is a true pioneer, and so is Joe, and what they're doing. And what John's trying to do is he's trying to develop a place for these kids to go. He knows when he was a young kid, there was no place for that, and he wants to keep it so. He's done well racing. He wants them to have a future in this. He doesn't want it to go anywhere. And go by. They're all signing posters and having a blast.
Exactly, and that's exactly the point I was going to make. It gives them kind of like a full-on, a part of a team. They've got mechanics. They've got criteria that they've got to follow as a part of that team. And I mean,
yeah, definitely. And they have to have, you know, decent grades in school, or not decent, but good grades in school. And they have to carry them, because there is bad avenues you can get to in anything in the world, you know, any day-to-day life, and racing obviously as we live, and being involved with someone like John and seeing that the passion that he puts into it is huge for these.
It surprises me, you know, people, you look at it and you say it's a lot of money to spend to go race at that, but the neat thing about it is, what I like about it is any one of these parents that you talk to that comes out here and travels the national scene or local scene or any type of racing, if they put their heart and souls and all their efforts into it, the one thing that they say, it's not an expense, it's actually an investment in their child, because it does so many things for them. It helps make a better character, number one. Definitely. Racing, obviously, I mean, it's an individual, it's a team sport in a way, but it's definitely an individual sport. So, you know, you've got that aspect of it, and then, you know, you've just got certain criteria and certain things you got to do to be able to perform well, and you've got to stay focused. You've got to do strict regiments and training regiments. You got, and all that keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And you get to develop different people skills, not just from your regular school day-to-day life. Right. You travel on the road. These kids get to see the likes of Tennessee to Pennsylvania to New York, you know, all over the place, and that's awesome. And I did a lot of that traveling and riding people's coattails when I was a kid, trying to race and trying to develop myself. And I'll never take any of that back. Traveling, and I still love to do it. And my daughter's 14 days old, and she's now here in Pennsylvania. You know, this time 2 Fridays ago, I was in the hospital waiting for my wife to have a baby. So to be here with her now is just insane, and it's awesome. And you know, hopefully she's going to be around with me, you know, at all these races, and with the Bairds, the people that I work for, with Bill Baird Motorsports, they allow that. They don't care. Come on, bring your family. We got the motorhome. That's all, and that's the vibe that I want my daughter to be around.
Well, the riders are heading down to the start line right now, picking their gates and positions for Moto number 2 of AMA Pro ATV Racing. And, of course, the stage gets set, and as it begins to set, we are going to take a quick break and be back with more here on RacerTV.com.
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused a Can-Am? From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
Twins are notoriously because that big long stroke with those 2 cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. And they were correct. That was just had to do a better quality oil.
Sometimes you come. Rocky Mountain ATVMC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.
And welcome back to High Point Raceway here on Racer. Nice shots of ATV motocross early this morning from here at High Point. And Casey, I tell you, man, with all the and of course,
yeah, definitely.
And of course, with that being said, man, I go ATV motocross racing, and well, like I said earlier, we put together a nice little package there that we call.
New to ATV motocross? We'll have a listen to ATVMX 101, and you'll come to knowledge in the sport. Heck, you might even be inspired to come race an event yourself. The Mountain Dew AMA ATV Motocross Championship is unquestionably the premier professional and amateur ATV motocross racing series in the world, and it offers classes for riders as young as 4 years old to riders so old they probably won't tell you what their age is. There are classes for machines so small they're powered by 50cc engines to machines 150cc motors. There's literally a class for everyone in this series, with 39 different divisions to chase a championship all season long, or just see what there's plenty of room for you. Now, any racer will tell you that finishing a long, hard-fought moto is the best feeling in the world, even if you come up short of the result you were hoping for. So for those dedicated to this sport and to this series over the years, this is a brand new era of ATV racing, and that's worthy of a big celebration. This history since its inception in 1985. Today, the series consists of 9 national events, facilities up and down the East Coast. Iconic racetracks like Red Bud in Michigan, and Pennsylvania's own High Point grace the schedule. ATV motocross is scored in a 2 moto in each moto, and the combined scores determine the overall finish. Racers are scored with computer. NASCAR. Amateur classes, including the youth divisions, usually race 4 or 5 lap motos, depending on the skill levels range from novice or beginner divisions to expert, or what's called A divisions at this level. Designated by age, such as the youth classes and the senior divisions. Other classes are determined by the rider's skill level or the equipment they're racing on. The true sign of the great variety of riding in this series, some of the most exciting racing all weekend is usually brought to us by the women's class. Amateur competition is governed by the rules of the American Motorcyclist Association, or AMA. The AMA has been sanctioning ATV motocross competition since the machines were developed in the early 1980s. At the top end of the game, professional racers licensed by AMA Pro Racing can chase their championship dreams on the same track and on the same weekend as the amateurs. An AMA Pro ATV Moto lasts 15 minutes plus 2 laps, and with most laps averaging 2 minutes long, you can expect a Pro Moto to last about 20 minutes. Unlike the amateurs, Pro points are accumulated for every moto throughout the season to determine the championship title. But just like the amateurs, the weekend's overall is based on the combined scores of the two motos. A typical race weekend for amateurs includes a Friday practice day, followed by racing on both Saturday and Sunday. The pros on one day, Saturday. This is a big series, with 600 to 800 riders competing in these national events from almost every state, as well as Canada, and the occasional visitor from Europe, Australia, or South America. And there's no pre-qualification necessary to compete in the amateur classes. There's a class for nearly every age, every machine, and ATV racing is a family sport. And thanks to the support of those families, as well as dedicated series, ATV racing has never been better. TV and online race coverage right here on RacerTV.tv racing at a national near you, or check us out online. To learn more about the Mountain Dew ATV Motocross, TVMotocross.com. And we'll see you at the races.
And I tell you, that's a pretty good way to get informed on what ATV motocross racing is about, or at least how to get involved in it. One rider that was really involved with things there in Moto number 1 was Thomas Brown. Man, he had his work cut out for him. Danica standing by with him.
At the start you were looking for in Moto 1, but what did you do back in the pits to prepare differently for this Moto?
You know, we're just going back to our old routine on the can do with a good start.
You've definitely shown you've gotten the speed. Now you just have to put it together. Is there anything else you're thinking on the track? Well, that's it. You've heard it from Thomas Brown. He needs to go fast. Thanks, guys.
I guess it's as simple as you can put it right there, huh? Really fast in that.
Well, and he was going fast, and all the guys are going fast, but you have to have some luck on your side. It takes a lot of luck, and you see, did Chad get lucky and get a good start that time? No, Chad's one of the best. He's struggled on starts here and there, so Thomas usually gets decent starts. So we'll see what happens this time. I think he'll be along here. When I worked for John Natalie a couple years ago here, we battled the Thomas the whole day. And
yeah, speaking of John Natalie, last time we were here, he did take the win in 2012, and Joe Bird might have actually taken the win, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I think that's one of
that was like
Joe Bird. It's 2008, and then I think Joe Bird's last win came in Steel City in 2000. Natalie won his last championship. So just some pretty good little facts there, and you know, you can see, you know, the last time our champ won a race was the last race. So you know, there's all sorts of spectrums here, and you know, it's been a little while since Kramer's won some races, and he, you know, he's looking to it, and he could walk away with the overall if the cards fall right. You never know.
Yeah, he finished 4th in Moto 1, but we've seen crazier things happen, especially with these new 15-minute motos. You know how hungry these guys are going to be in Moto number 2. Moto 1, we saw Chad Wienand able to capture 2nd place position. John Natalie held on for 3rd, just ahead of Josh Creamer, the number 9, who was pushing hard. Top 5, or inside the top 5, rounding out the top 5. I'm trying to say Josh Upperman, but out of those top 5, 3 a champion or former champion of the series, which is pretty impressive, I think. Thomas Brown took 6, who we talked to there just a moment, and he battled in that first moto for that number 6 spot. Relentlessly able to make a pass stick on Rastrelli. Rastrelli ends up finishing in the number 7 spot with Sean Taylor, highest finishing rookie, Iowa. Root River Racing rider. Also Casey Martin out of Frenchburg, Kentucky. The 75 took 9th. And the Pro-Am class, we're talking 665. He's almost evil, as I like to call him, out of Cutler, Illinois, the BCS. And Joe Bird, the rider that is 41 years old. I hate to keep harping on it, but I mean, that's pretty years in the business, finishing in 11th place there in Moto 1.
We have another racing championship can you go to and see racing on the same track on the same day at different age group levels, where Joe Burt, like you said, 41, not to keep beating on him, 8 years old, and Chad Wienen at 26, 27 years old. That's a big, and Josh Kramer, and to see that all come together on a Saturday afternoon, week in and week out with these guys, and Joe trains just as hard as your defending champion of. So it is that spectrum that you see, and I hate to keep showing it, but the ATV Racing Nation, as you've named it, Rodney, it is an awesome sport that we have, and to see it grow and to be involved in it has always been, a great respect for me, and I appreciate what the sport has done for everybody.
Yeah, no doubt about that. As Chad Wienen makes his way back to the gate, he's going to pull in right between one of the newer riders in the pro class, the 75 of Casey Martin and the 13 of John Natalie. And here he is. That is the man to beat, Chad Wienen right there. They call him big.
They do, and he's got big shoes to fill, and you can see, his mechanic, Paul Turner, there. Paul's been in this sport for a long time. He worked for Doug Gus a long time ago, so it's good to see.
Rodney Tomlin here along with Casey Greek. And Casey, we're also joined with Danica Wienen there, who is, by the way, if you're wondering, the wife of Chad Wienen, and she's been helping us out there for sure. But what a spectacular day we've seen so far. We've got to see the first moto of amateur racing in amongst all that, and we're getting ready to watch this second moto as moto number 2 board is being shown to our riders. Anticipation, the excitement, the adrenaline, it's all starting to build right now.
It's all pumping up, and like we've talked earlier, we'll see Joel Hetrick show his cards this time. There is no reason to hold back this time. This is the last chance you have today to go out there and prove you're the best man on this track. So seeing that, we'll see what Joel Hetrick can do. And Jeffrey Rochelle, you're kind of your Cinderella story today. Qualifying third, fastest out of qualifying practice, is big deal, and he didn't get the showing that he wanted. I did talk to him. He hit a false neutral. It happens. It's happened to every one of us out there, and it kind of shuffled him back. And once you get shuffled back from getting a good start and expecting to be towards the front, that will damper your moto, and that's what happened with him. And he finished 7th place, which is still a respectable finish, but I'm looking for big things. And I told him, I said, I've been talking about you. I expect you to do well. Go out there and show it to us.
There we go. Gate is down on this one. Natalie going to grab the whole shot. This time it looks like he's out front right now. Anyway, there's Wienen back in the number 2 spot.
Definitely Wienen's worst nightmare now is to have Natalie out in front of him. And Natalie can go fast now.
Yes, he can. And Natalie can not only go fast, but he can also make it nearly impossible to pass. We've even heard him say, I got tired there at one moto and one point that he won, and said he was not going to let anybody by him. Rode a good, clean race, but man, he made that ATV about 12 feet wide. Right now, it's not wide enough. It looks like Wienen trying to sneak in there, but man, he's got enough horsepower. Natalie's able to hang on to the number 1 spot. We see the position jockeying going on all the way through the field right now. Where is Joel Hetrick? How is he doing back there? John Natalie picking up the SSI Decals Whole Shot Award. That'll give him 2 more points in that championship and within the championship.
He's definitely going to keep his points lead in that championship. He's trying to take the big man Chad Wienen's championship away from that Max's back Yamaha rider there.
There we go as we head up that big uphill triple. These guys landing that quite easily. And
it looks like Joel Hetrick just moved into your 3rd spot, making a pass, making quick work of Josh Kramer this lap.
Wow, so Kramer, I know he's got to be pretty upset about that, so he's going to try to fire back, and that should probably intensify. Remember Moto 2 in Georgia? We might be about ready to see something like that about to take place.
I'm thinking we're going to see a really good race this race, and where Joel Hetrick is now is if he's in the same shoes that John Natalie was, well, not in the same shoes, but Chad is in the same shoes John Natalie was. John is in control of this race where Joel is now pouncing onto Chad Wienen. If Joel passes Chad Wienen, what's that going to do to his confidence? What effect is that going to have on him for the day?
Wow, check out this running order right now. Natalie, Wienen, Hetrick, Kramer, your top 4, and then Ronnie Higgerson, which is Josh Kramer's teammate running in 5th, Tyler Hamrick in 6th, Adam Clark in 7th, Jeffrey Rastrelli 8th, Joe Bird in 9th, Thomas Brown rounds out your top 10. Upperman is all the way back in 11th, Casey Martin 12th, Brett Music running 13th, Nick Moser in 14th, Sean Taylor rounds out the top 15. And folks, don't forget, tweet your podium finish predictions and hashtag them ATVMX Live for a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL products. Winner will be chosen randomly. We'll do it before the end of the show, and you don't have to be right. We just want to know what your predictions are. Hashtag that ATVMX Live, and you could win yourself some great AMSOIL product. And that John Natalie continues to hold point out here. And here's the funny thing, not necessarily funny, but the amazing thing, these two are starting to stretch away from Joel Hetrick and Josh Creamer and Ronnie Higgers, and at least it seemed he was just for the moment. Quickly firing back, it looks like that Hetrick is trying to join the game up there up front, and don't look like that Creamer's going to let him get too far out of sight, as our front four are really pretty close now. They're top of the key now in the heart of High Point.
They are definitely close, and what I can notice here watching is each guy has their own part of the track right now. Chad's really quick in some sections, John's really quick, and look at Joel Hetrick. He's going to squeeze it in wherever he can, because Chad's got to watch his momentum, and he's got to fight for the insides because he can't let Joel have that inside. So right now you see Chad made a little slip up there and went a little wide, and Joel stuck it under him. He didn't make the pass, but he's definitely showing that he's willing to take the chance right now.
Wow.
And he's got to make that chance, and to get this overall today, he's got to be Chad Wienen.
He does. He's got to get around Chad Wienen, and I'm not sure if he's got to get around John Natalie or not, depending on how the scores tally up there. But this is a big, big break for John Natalie right now, who took 3rd in Moto 1. And if he takes 1st here, that's going to better his opportunities and chances of taking the overall win, obviously.
Joel Hetrick makes a pass. Chad Wienen made a small mistake there, and it ended up costing him big as Joel Hetrick went right by. So now to see Joel Hetrick start to track down John Natalie and see how that works out for him.
Yes, this is going to be an exciting battle that we're going to watch shape up here. And look at this, man. We heard the 88 of Joel Hetrick talking about, wanting to be in position, and that he felt, confident to be able to get up there. Even between motos, he very confident with the ride that he put forth in Moto 1. Didn't get the best of starts that he normally likes to get, but he got into position, didn't get there quick enough, and ended up finishing in 2nd. But today he got in position in Moto 2 a lot quicker, and here we are with a big battle starting to shape up for 1st place. Chad Wienen is sitting back there in the number 3 spot watching it. You got to wonder what's going on in Creamer's mind back there in 4th. There's not much of a gap that's between he and Wienen, but he is leaving a little bit of a buffer zone there in case something happens and these guys get together.
It definitely could be interesting if any of your top 3 get together with each other, what Creamer could do with it. And as they tighten up, they're going to slow down, and a lot of people don't realize that. They think, oh, they're tightening up, and we thought the same thing in Georgia, but they just kept going faster the tighter they got, as Joel Hetrick pulled up alongside, and they're drag racing with John Natalie, and it looks like he's going to make the pass pretty easy. So that's an unusual feat right there.
Wow.
And so I've seen this here before. In 2012, Joel Hetrick made the pass on John Natalie here and did it in an easy way. Joel thrives at this track. He loves off camber.
He loves High Point. There's no doubt about it. He's feeling fastest qualifier and just poetry in motion on the racetrack right now. This kid is riding rails, and Natalie is just going to have to ride his best race in order to try to get up and around. Right now, what Chad Wienen needs to do is get into that number 2 spot. Here's the way the point standings are. If they finish, and this was with Hetrick in the number 2 spot, Natalie would have taken the overall with Wienen in 2nd and Joel Hetrick in 3rd. But now that Joel Hetrick has moved up a position into the number 2 spot, that's going to give him about 3 more points in the tally in the battle, and I think that's going to put Hetrick actually obviously in position to win. There's no doubt about it.
And you can see Hetrick is just thriving today. The soil, something has got him, and I'm going to turn it to the kid's just fast, but on the other side of the hometown feel, Joel, he's a younger guy. He likes that feeling. I know he's got a lot of friends and family here, and I know John usually thrives really hard, really well when we get into the Pennsylvania areas, and he's thriving. I mean, he's running 2nd right now. He's got a solid position on the podium, but Joel is just on another level right this second, and he's starting to stretch it out just a little bit, and we'll see as they come across the board to see what the lap times are and what Joel is actually doing different and what his not unusual, but what is similar between the two riders is that they're both on the same tires. They're both running DWT tires, and this track is, it's minimal traction right now. So they're both having really good luck out of that. And you got a Maxxis rider of Chad Wienen running in third, and he's never said anything about traction. So a little bit of, did they find something new in the DWT tire? What's going on with that? What might be going on with Chad Wienen right now?
Well, I think it's just a matter of just the way the cards fall sometimes, to be honest with you. I think he may have gotten surprised there by the 88 of Joel Hetrick, and in doing so, he's just been trying to recoup back from that. I'm sure it might have just kind of stunned him a little bit, and then he started thinking about overall. I'm sure there's a lot of mind games going on with that pass as much as anything.
Could Kid Dynamite blowing up and kind of rattle the champ's cage?
Might have. He might have that. And
don't look like it rattled too much, as he's pushing pretty hard on John Natalie. If someone wants to rattle Chad Wienen's cage, it definitely could be John Natalie.
Yeah, and it's go time right now for Chad Wienen. I think Wienen is witnessing what we're seeing right now, and that is that gap starting to open up quite a bit between first and second. It was a little over a second last time through. I'm going to say we're pushing closer to 2 seconds now as Natalie trying to fend off Wienen for the number 2 spot. And
as we round halfway, you see Joel pull away a little bit, and this is what I was talking about. These guys start battling. They're both fighting for traction. They're both fighting for the cushion, but you got to protect the insides. And you can see Joel getting them squeeze away a little bit, and Chad gives John Natalie just a little bump there. So things are definitely getting aggressive. They're both fairly clean riders, and they will bump on each other, but that's sometimes what you have to do.
Yeah,
this is your livelihood on the line. You need to do what you need to do.
You need to do what you need to do within the realm of reason anyway, and these guys know that realm of reason. They do a good job of working within that realm also. And right now, just to give you an FYI, if they finish the way they are right now, it'll be just like what we're seeing on the, well, no, not necessarily on the racetrack. We got Hetrick, Wienen, and Natalie 1, 2, and 3 for the overall. Kramer would take 4th, and 5th would be Jeffrey Rastrelli. Another strong showing by that young pilot. As right now we're still in the midst of trying to figure whether or not that's going to be the case or not, because Wienen is still all over the rear wheels of John Natalie. We saw it round 1. He couldn't make the pass on him because John Natalie knows how to make that machine not only 50-some inches wide, but probably 150-some inches wide.
Yeah, and that's for sure. And he'll do what he has to do. You know, like I keep referring back to 2012 here. John, it was his bad day.
Wienen off the track.
Yeah, Wienen a little off the track there, and
I don't know that
he used enough caution there, but he definitely realized that he wasn't on the track and backed her down a notch and didn't advance any positions in that situation.
Yeah, so there won't be anything looked at negatively there. He was forced off the track, re-entered the track at the next safest spot. That's what is required of them without gaining an advantage, and he could have gained an advantage very easily there, but obviously we saw him back it down. Good move by the champ, and it's another one of those things, you know, it's got to play some mind games with him at this point, you would think.
Yeah, he's made a few mistakes today in that section. I watched qualifying earlier today, and Chad almost come off the quad over there, and it's really unusual to see Chad get any kind of out of shape, and so he's struggling a little bit there, and as the fans watch these guys drop back down the hill, they're getting to witness a great battle between these two.
They are, most definitely, and they are getting to witness now Joel Hetrick almost 3, probably pushing close to 4 seconds ahead. Lap times 1:49.6 for Hetrick last time around, a 1:51 for John Natalie, a full second and 4/10 faster. So we see a lot of things going on there. Chad Wienen was in the 150 range, not much slower than John Natalie, and speaking of which, he's wanting to go faster, but John Natalie's not allowing that.
It's going to be interesting to see what game Chad plays. If he sets him up, you know, goes inside, 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 so then John starts to protect the inside, and then switches up and goes outside. What kind of strategy is Chad Wienen playing with John Natalie right now? He knows he needs to beat him because every point counts, and this early in the series, you don't want to give up nothing. If it's a little bit later in the year, you might see Chad just sit back and not worry about it if he had a decent points lead. Well, but that's not the case right now as they come through the rollers.
Yeah, we're past the halfway point right now, and Chad Wienen sees his chances of winning 3 in a row right now quickly diminishing, because he knows that he's got to get around John Natalie, then he's got to get around Joel Hetrick. Hetrick at last time around was 4.1 seconds ahead at the end of lap number 6. So we'll see where they're at this particular point. I don't know that they picked up the pace in that battle for second. Oh, here comes Wienen on the inside. Here we're seeing insides. I think a lot of, and this might be the setup you're talking about here.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see John just fighting it there, and he's definitely keeping Weenan at bay, but Chad's getting a little impatient, which I don't blame him. He's got to go, like we said before, and John is not easy to get around, and he knows how to ride a track, and he knows how to ride this track. He's spent a lot of time on this track before, and just to think of Joel Hetrick is just, I think it's probably this is his second time here as a pro, and he's out there putting on a clinic right now. And
yeah,
this is what I expected out of Joel Hetrick as the first moto.
Exactly, and it's amazing how one moto to the next. That's what I like about motocross. You get that chance, the law of averages, to average it out and maybe get things better off for you after the second moto, or if you have a bad moto, one or two, whichever way it goes. The average of the two definitely helps out at the end of the day, I think, unless you have two bad motos.
Yeah, and you see these guys spread out just a little bit for a minute, and we talk about looking at Ronnie Higgerson having a bad second moto. Josh Upperman, unusual bad second moto. Be interested to see what happened in the Baldwin camp for that. Jeffrey Restrilli not having the second moto that I wanted him to have, and definitely not the moto that he wanted to have.
Well, not the only.
But it's, and who knows? Was it the little bit more boost they added? Did he have a wreck? We didn't see that part of it, but you can see the battle here for second place tighten up again.
Sure does, as Hetrick, Natalie, Ween, and Creamer Brown now in 5th place. He was way back in the pack in the early part of this one. He's up to 5th now, so you got to tip the hat to that guy. Tyler Hamrick in 6th, Adam Clark in 7th, Joe Bird in 8th, Casey Martin 9th, Nick Moser rounds out in the top 10.
And you have your pro rookie. This is first year pro of the Cody Jansen and the Jansen Motorsports crew over there, and then he's having a pretty good ride today, running the 14th.
Bird look at this battle for 7th place, Hammer, Clark, and Bird. That's what we just saw on the TV screen a moment ago, and we're watching, and they're coming right at us on RacerTV.com. So you folks here at the racetrack, go home and watch this. You're going to see some good close-up battles there. But Joe Bird, we might get to see the crafty old veteran maybe make a couple of passes here.
Yeah, definitely, and it'd be awesome to see him run up here. And if you look, you have Tyler Hamrick in 7th there as your rookie of the year from last year and your veteran icon of Joe Bird.
Exactly. Pretty exciting, and looks like we're down. What's going on in the mechanics area? Josh Upperman off the track right now. Looks like they're looking at the front wheel, or is that something?
Something as they zoom in, you can see Mark Baldwin working on something. If they get closer around the other edge, it looks like maybe a broken hymen on the upper A-arm, which is a very unusual. And wrong, you come off the wrong way, you're going to break a hymen. I've seen A-arms break very rarely do we see that stuff, but that's definitely happened.
2-lap card coming out this next time around. There's that battle still with Joe Bird, Hamrick, and of course that
Chad Wienan's past John Natalie as they both get a little crazy in the rollers around the corner up there.
Wow, so there I think we might have saw the outside maneuvering that you were talking about, because we'd seen Chad going inside a lot. So that might have been the setup that you were talking about, of course.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he meant to be outside or if he was outside. I'm not real sure. We caught the tail end of it, but it definitely he was setting something up there, and for a section that he had struggled with for Chad.
Wow, Bird is playing nicely with these kids ahead of him right now. You can tell that he's wanting to get ahead of them. And right now, Natalie, Ween, and Creamer 1, 2, and 3. What happened? No, wait a minute. We got Ween. There it is. Hetrick, Natalie, and Ween in my scoreboard. I went to read it, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Hetrick, Natalie, Ween in 1, 2, and 3. Creamer in 4th. Thomas Brown in 5th. Ronnie Higgerson 6th. Tyler Hamrick 7th. Clark in 8th. Adam Clark, the 31 in 8th. Casey Martin, actually, I believe, what happened to Joe Bird? Did he fall away on this battle, or did his transponder not score last time around either?
Yeah, he has him drifted back to 15th, but that's definitely not the case.
So
the last time we seen him, he was in that battle with those guys. And here's your leader, Hetrick. He's just out on Easy Street right now with an 8-second lead with 2 laps to go. As Hetrick looks down at the bike just a little bit. Didn't look like anything dramatic, but I'm not real sure. We'll see if we can get some more footage on him to see if there's anything going on. As Weenan starts to...
Yeah, that right there might be Chad Weenan's saving grace. I'm not saying that there is anything, but I caught exactly what you saw. side of his machine there, and it might have just been just checking to see his foot placement or something. I mean, it may not have been anything. We may have, because watching him ride right now, it doesn't look like there's any problems.
Yeah, it definitely didn't look like there's anything there. Maybe he was just trying to. He's definitely still on, on pace. All tires look inflated, and he checks over. It'd be interesting to see if he slowed down at all that last lap, or if he was just looking over at the fans. I mean,
that's
Joe's doing.
Seen a pretty girl in the audience. That's what it was.
Don't tell Carly that.
Might have been her,
That's what it was.
It looks like
that's
Clark. He was in that battle with Bird and
that three-way battle there.
I told you that Joe was going to. I'm not saying he took him out by no stretch of the imagination, but I can say he probably forced him into a major mistake that took him out like that.
Yeah, and that's a good run for Adam Clark to be running up in the 8th place position there, and it's unfortunate to see him crash and running against a veteran like that.
White flag is out, and we saw Jeffrey Rastrelli setting off to the side of the road. Might have some sort of mechanical error going on there.
Yeah, definitely not the way he wanted to end his day. And the one thing, he's third fastest rider today in qualifying, and he needs to take that and dig on that and work to the next race and come out and do it again.
I think so. I think he'll take this negative, say there was way too many positives today to let the negatives outweigh that. I think Rastrelli's program's making some huge strides in the right direction, that's for sure. Does it look like this is getting tighter to you?
This has definitely gotten tighter.
It was 4 seconds difference between them last time, and 8 seconds that separated them a couple of laps ago. Now there's only 4 seconds. Wienen was turning 4 seconds faster lap time last time, but again, Hetrick had slowed down in the cruise mode and celebration mode, but
not sure if he slowed down for celebration or what, but I think they definitely told him he's got to go again because he lost half his lead. At any time, I don't care if there's a lap, lose half your lead, and to go from 8 seconds to a 4 second, that just shows you the fitness of Chad and the never give up attitude that he's got. But it definitely looks like Joel's picked it back up. He's definitely not having any bike trouble. The bike looks great. He's tripling up that big hill, and if he was having some kind of trouble, that would be the jump that you wouldn't jump.
Is that Bird
as Joe Bird is off the side of the track. So maybe Joe Bird showed something from the rookie. I don't know. We didn't get to see that, or hopefully he's not having no mechanical failures.
No, I don't think so. That looked like probably just hard battle racing right there that got him off the edge of the track. He was trying to put her back in gear. Checkers are out. Look at that.
Wins her overall.
Joel Hetrick. I could feel it for him. When I saw the checkers and that fist go out, I felt the emotion that Joel Hetrick felt right there. Being able to take his first win of 2014 and do it right here in front of the hometown crowd, to say the least.
Broke an axle.
Yeah, he did say he was one of the heaviest guys on an ATV, too.
He is a big guy, and so there's not an axle breaking or some kind of issue like that. And so to have that issue, it's not anyone's fault. That on there, you're going to run into that time and time again.
Yeah, you certainly will. The creators of equipment and aftermarket products and stuff gives them a lot more to look forward to. And I believe we got Joel Hetrick down there. We got Chad Wienen took second. John Natalie took third. And actually, that's exactly Danica is standing by with our Moto 2 winner, Joel Hetrick.
Guys, yeah, I have Joel.
I believe that she might be standing too close to a PA speaker. You might want to relocate that one right there.
It's definitely not the day that Chad Wienen wanted, but to limit the damage by coming away with, a 1-2 for second overall and losing the points to the third place rider in the championship of Joel Hetrick on your worst day. And Chad is phenomenal at doing that. He limits his bad days to good days.
Look at the crowd right there. They're all, see the race wrapping up. Crowd heading over to the Mountain Dew victory lane. Head over top 3 overall finishers, race fans, and we'll be back down with Danica there in just a moment. Give you a rundown of what took place here in Moto 2. Joel Hetrick, Chad Wienen, John Natalie, Josh Creamer in 4th. Rounding out the top 5, Thomas Brown. Ronnie Higgerson was able to move back up into 6th. Tyler Hamrick held on for 7th. Casey Martin was 8th. I'm sure he had his eyes full when watching those battles ahead of him. Nick Moser was 9th. Brett Music rounded out your top 10. And unfortunately, looks like coming up short, not able to take checkers, was Joe Bird. He finished 15th. Josh Upperman not able to take the checkers. Looks like whatever problem he had kept him in the mechanics area way too long. And Jeffrey Rastrelli out with mechanicals after 7 laps, almost 8 laps of racing there for him. So an intense day of racing, and some guys having some not so good days, but some guys having some spectacular days. And that, of course, is our guys on the podium. Let's head on down to Mountain Dew Victory Lane, where Danica Wienen is standing by.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm back here with Joel Hetrick. Joel, your first moto win of the day. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, this is the first moto win of the year, and I knew it was coming. I just had to put the work together. Actually, I mean, the tranny in my bike was out. I only had fourth gear the last 3 laps, and I was really nervous. Chad was catching up, but I pulled through and got the win, so I'm really pumped.
Thanks a lot, Joel, and we'll see you back on the podium.
Thank you.
All right, okay, I said that is pretty interesting. That we wondered what was going on. We seen him looking down, so I guess there was a little bit of an issue. Lost, what do you say, fourth gear, I think?
He lost everything but fourth gear, which, you know, is definitely a bad thing, but at least you're not stuck in first gear where you can't do any of the jumps and you're going to lose a lot more time than what he did. And you can see, you know, he was stuck in fourth gear, which is a phenomenal feat in itself to ride a bike around this track with all the uphills and downhills in fourth gear. And his last lap around, he ran a 151.009, which was only 0.3 or slower than Chad Wienen with a perfectly normal transmission.
That's crazy, man. That's wild. That kid was flying. There's no doubt about it. Chad Wienen was flying. John Natalie was also flying. We're going to check in with those guys here in just a few moments as we'll be heading down to our Mountain Dew victory lane in just moments. But right now, we're going to take a quick break here on Racer TV Live and be back with more of our ATVMX right after this.
That combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design. We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right in $49 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
Here we go, heading into turn number 1. Side by side they go. Can't he shut the door on him? My goodness.
Watch all the action of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship on NBC, NBC Sports Network, and for the High Point National on June 14th at promotocross.com.
Twins are notorious because that big long stroke of those 2 cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues that AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. And they were correct. That was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATVMC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our days are less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
To RacerTV.com's ATVMX live here from the legendary High Point Raceway. Rodney Tomlin along with Keith as this AMA Pro ATV racing is concerned, and we've already sorted it out. We figured out who our top 3 are. Danica Wienen stands by with John Natalie.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm here with the 3rd place overall winner, John Natalie.
A little bit of a lead, but I think I'm pretty sure Joel was right on me the whole time, and I knew Chad was back there, so he didn't stick around me over there. And Joel got around me early and pulled a big lead, so I guess Joel was out far enough, and he blew a 4th pad back, but ended up with 3rd overall for the day. You know, championships aren't won in one race, they're won in a whole season, so we're still in this.
Our hometown fans.
Yeah, you know, it's great. There's so many people here this weekend. I can't say enough, man. Thank you, guys. And a lot of familiar faces and just a lot of people that have been following me and haven't been able to get to a race. I want to thank you guys for coming.
Who do you have to thank for your podium?
Here, motorsport.com for hooking me up with all the stuff for the bikes. Rich over at Root River Racing, Johnny Leach at D-Situ Forum, Fly, Mike Walsh at Walsh Racecraft, Fox Shocks, #1 ATV, Ray FTR for keeping me looking good all the time. Flex Bars, Pro Armor, Waskop Pistons, and Natalie, Tommy and Johanna Vossman, Brody Runyon, and Logan Steele, and Alex Waskop. And again, I want to know if you're a fan of me, or Chad, or Joel, or a 50 rider. You're a fan of the sport I love, and I love you guys.
Thanks, John. That sure is a long.
But it is what keeps these guys going from race to race and makes it worthwhile to come out here. And like Natalie said, talks about the fans, and he does. He thanks the fans every week, and these guys, I mean, they're a hopeful. Big
Smile, you're on live internet TV.
Yeah,
and that's John sincere when he talks about that. He normally knows his sponsors, and he does know his sponsors, but he's got such a long list of Italia experience, and he wants to take care of those guys.
Look at this right now. But before we go to the interview, it looks like Danica is actually giving him the what for getting second place today as a wife. Now let's go down forward to the. I'm just kidding about that. I'm our second place finisher, Chad Wienen.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm here with two-time reigning champ Chad Wienen. Take me through your race.
An excellent start. Came out second. Almost made the pass around the sweeping corner, and just a fast corner. You really couldn't stick it in there. And about 4 laps into the race, I came down this hill, and I changed up my line, and it kind of bit me, and I pushed wide, let Joel get by. I just put my head down, and Joel made a pass on John, and he was able to extend out and get out in front of me and John. So I just kind of, had to find my place to really get around John, and kind of just pulled one out of my hat and just doubled out, and it was so close, and I probably could have hit him. I had to make the pass, and Joel was getting away, and that was for the head down, and we closed the gap on the last couple laps, but it just wasn't enough to get it done today.
Consistency is the most important in a championship. How do you feel about that after your second place finish today?
It's a great day. We're pouring out the battle every single time, and just being consistent and putting these races and just putting myself in the best possible weekend. And the whole Wienen Motorsports, SSI decal, Yamaha, Maxxis tires, Walsh Race. We just got a long list of people that really help us out. We got Fox Shocks, Fuel Custom, VP Rich Components. We got Used Motorsports, FMF, Fly Racing, CP, Evans, and so much more that really make this happen for us. And WPC, Streamline, and Precision, NGK, and history in the making right here.
He said it. Back to you guys in the studio. Thanks, Chad.
That's right, history in the making, and he's out here to win the war. It's not the battles that he's so much worried about. You got to do well in the battles to win the war, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do.
Definitely, and if he can count today as a bad day, you can only imagine what to see from the rest of the year. And he comes out and has a solid day and consistent, and that's what Chad does best.
Look at Natalie.
Shirt after shirt, ready to throw to these guys, and you can see that he can hear us. And he better getting ready to get the crowd fired up, and,
yes,
and that's what we want to see. And
wow, Danica.
Thanks, guys. I've got the man of the hour right here, Joel Hetrick. Moto 2, you came out and took the win. How's it going?
Cry with you guys cheering. This is the first win I've had all year, and I really worked hard for it. I mean, this last moto I had bike weekend for me to win at the hometown, and I can't be any happier.
You had a great lead extended, and as you said, you had a little bike problems and started you to cross that finish line.
I was pretty scared. When the 2-lap bar came out, I was scared. Issues, and I just had to push through it and finish.
Who do you have to thank to be on the center of the box?
Oh, my mom and dad, Root River Racing, Elka Suspension, SSI decals, my girlfriend Carly, Fly Racing, Greg Powell, Corrosion, Streamline, Works Connection, Hinson, my mechanic Darren Thomas, the whole JB Racing team is on. I finished with a bike issue, and I can't be any happier, so I mean, it's awesome to be up here.
Thank you, Joel Hetrick.
All righty, thanks a lot, Danica. So Joel takes that second moto win after a second place. Takes those fastest qualifying lap times, uses that confidence to win today. Look at this, the crowd down there, and really excited for the winners there. We're getting ready to do champagne celebrations on the podium to do the shirts and stuff from John Natalie, and on the racetrack we're actually getting ready to continue with some more. So a lot of great things going on here as far as this Mountain Dew ATV National Motocross Championship season and series is concerned. And one thing I can say about this live broadcast today, Casey, very exciting to do. Very, very, very good camera angles, I say. I mean, some of the best racing. We always get to see the racing from the tower and stuff, but to get to see it that close up as we have here on RacerTV.com today has been a great time, no doubt about it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to ATVMX Live, and make sure you let folks know about it in the future. As far as the Twitter contest, We got some folks to congratulate there, of course, for winning the Twitter contest, $250 in AMSOIL product. All they had to do was just give us an idea who they thought they were going to win. And we'll definitely reply to you there on Twitter. I think that they're in the process of making that happen right now, and we are in the process of making things happen here on the podium. As one more time, our top 3 overall. Let's hear them down there at the podium, guys. Make some noise. Well, we don't have a lot of mic down there right now, but you can hear them all the way up the back. Here's what I like, the champagne celebration.
This is where you get to see the rookies versus the veterans. Joel's going to, John, he'll get it right off, and so will. Oh, John's sleeping today. Maybe Joel will give him a little spray. John gets them, and this is always the exciting part, and this is the part when I would run out of here. Joel, I don't think you're old. Okay. But I would always run. I never wanted to be sticky for the rest of the day when I had to start working on my bike.
Well, I tell you, Casey, it's been a great day. We talk about how spectacular of a day it is. We've got, you know, a lot of great things going on. Things that I want to remind folks of is make sure you're tuning in to MAV TV, which will be broadcasting the first 2 rounds of ATV motocross racing. They had their first broadcast today at 12:30, and we'll also be seeing more local listings for MAV TV. Now for Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com, get ready, upcoming RacerTV.com. Schedule itself. We've got GNCC on TV. That's coming up actually tomorrow on NBC Sports Network. You'll want to check that out at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. On May 24th, that's next weekend, we'll be not far from where we are right now in Masontown, West Virginia for the Mountaineer Run. GNCC will have ATV racing starting at 1 o'clock, and then at 4:30 after the ATVs are raced, we'll start a new show. We'll have UTV racing. And then on May 24th also, 6:30 that evening, you can catch more GNCC on TV from NBC Sports Network. It's round 2, the January on NBC Sports Network, and then Mountaineer Run Bike on that following next Sunday, May 25th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. GNCC live and the Mountaineer Run Bike GNCC right here on RacerTV.com. So NBC Sports Network, RacerTV.com, that's the places to be. Thanks to our friends at Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com for helping us get ready as far as our upcoming schedules are concerned. And there we go. That broadcast day today, Casey. I want to say thanks to you, for the expert input that you were able to afford us.
It was made today, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
And, of course, we also want to say thanks to Miss Danica Weenan for her job with Podium and stuff. She's done an excellent job. And to you, the ATV race fans from across the world and around the globe, we hope to be able to bring you more of great racing just like this on RacerTV.com and ATVMX. All of the RacerTV.com crew, I'm Rodney Tomlin.